2,000 players, $32,000, one player left standing. We're back at ESL's studio in Leicester, joined by a beautiful live audience and some of the best players in the world. It's been a busy week for these guys, so let's take a look behind the scenes at what Deadman means to them.
MMORPG is going nuclear! 0-0!
Oh wow, Mankt hasn't made it through, has it just been announced? I believe he's fallen. Unfortunately, the previous MMO winner has died.
I thought it was some crazy twisted joke. It's actually genuine.
Points right now. Taking the win.
Last time we saw Mankt win it as a bit more of a solo player playing with some friends. This time, finally, Fool's able to defeat Rot in the finale. Rot winning Deadman, of course, in the past.
For me, Deadman is just a massive battle royale for RuneScape, right? You throw 2,000 people, you fill up an entire server, and they all battle it out to see who will be the last one standing. Obviously, there's a big prize pool, but the majority of these players here are playing for pride. They're playing to represent a clan or represent themselves, and it all comes down to who could outlast one another and who could perform when we come down to those final stages.
It just brings something new to the table that's never before seen in an MMO, really. It's action-packed, it's amazing, it's not worth missing out on, so make sure you give it a go.
Deadman starting 2 years ago, I only started playing it a month into it, but then once I started playing it, I was hooked on it and I played it every day. I was PKing as much as possible because it was so active and it was just so much fun.
I think everybody just wanted to kill each other and steal their banks. I think that was the funniest thing about Deadman, and the funniest thing for me to make me want to play Deadman myself was just kill everybody.
Deadman, when it first came out, was like old school when it was first released, and because there was an XP cap, that's what made it so addicting and so fun, because it was a new thing that nobody had ever experienced before. The first hype of it was absolutely amazing, and honestly we can never relive that again.
It's such an exciting game mode that anything can happen at any time, so it's really exciting for people to watch.
The best Deadman player in the world. God, Mankt Up Mage, I guess, is in my forerunning after his amazing performance last time.
So when I won the Deadman finale, I was very tired, so it didn't kick in straight away. There was a lot of support on stage, which was awesome. It was nice, everyone congratulating me, etc. But yeah, it really didn't kick in for quite a while. I think it was a couple of days until I realised kind of the outcome. For winning this tournament, I don't know how well it's going to go. It all really depends on how the week goes, because obviously I've never really done anything like this. I've always played the tournament the exact same. So this will be the first for me. We're just gonna have to see how it goes, I guess.
When Mankt killed me in Deadman modes, honestly, I know it's the nature of the game mode. Like, I can't slate the guy. I was a free target. I was out there at the Cuirass. I had so much loot on me. And, you know, he spared me in the past, but I respect the guy, you know? He actually wanted to take me out the game, to take all my money. That's fair enough. He needed to feed his team, and I absolutely respect that. No grudges at all. So PKing for me is actually how I started out a lot of my streaming career. It's the IMO mode that kind of pushed me away from that, and all my hours went into that, and my PKing kind of got worse over time. But for Deadman, I've been trying to get into a lot more like hybriding, and the 1v1 fight that I did last time, I was actually really impressed with my performance, and I know that I've been improving. And it's like every Deadman now, I could just see myself slowly just get in there. I know this tournament is going to be one without swapping, and that's going to be a huge thing for me. But last tournament, the furthest I actually got was the one I actually ran with a team. Just to be within them, within the final area, increased my survival chance so much that I actually made it to the 1v1, so I really hope to go with that strategy again. I was very surprised when I actually got to the 1v1 fights. I was actually against another content creator, graphist as well, so I was really excited for the fight. I just knew straight away though that my supplies and my gear was inferior to him, but I was like, I'm going to try and put on a good show, and I nearly come back from it, and it was such a close fight.
I've been killed on Deadman quite a lot of times, and when I died to Robert is probably one of the worst times, because it's Robert. And to be fair, Robert's getting a lot better, but it would be amazing to take revenge.
It was a great moment when I killed Skillspect. I remember I was watching the stream, was having a fight, and when Draenor, I DDS'd him a few times, and he died, and I just remember looking on stream, and his reaction was just priceless, and shouting and swearing, just being really annoyed just because he died to me and I'm not the best player, so it's just quite funny.
If I was in the wilderness and I did find Robert, I would probably try and kill him in the final hour, try my best. He does have better stats than me, but I think I'm a better PK.
My money is going to go on skill specs. I think he's got a lot of potential if he can just, stay calm, not make any silly mistakes by sitting on 20 HP and forgetting to eat a food or something.
This time around, I've been going pretty hard in terms of training and questing. I wouldn't say as hard as I did last season, but still pretty hard, relatively. And I would like that to pay off in the final hour. As long as I can make it to the 1v1s, I'm very confident that I can actually maybe take a win, maybe.
This tournament I'm playing with Lit. I just wanted the best chance of getting to the final 1v1s. I went with them because they've won a few of the previous Deadman modes and they always have like a massive team, and I think it was last tournament I got killed by them and I was like, right, just let me go with them this time so I don't, the same thing doesn't happen again. There's always, just with any Deadman mode final, it's always increased heart rate and like, oh my god, I don't want to die. I've played all week just for this moment. Please don't screw it up and die early or something. In the final, I'm worried about running into rot. They've got a lot of powerful gear from God Wars, and they're just a really skilled clan. No, if any of my opponents out there, just leave me to the end. It'll be worth it. I just want to get to the 1v1. That's all I want to do.
Players have been grinding non-stop this entire week leading up to this final moment. The final moments of the Deadman Summer Invitational. Not only are these guys playing for their share of the $32,000 prize pool, their pride is on the line, trying to show that not only are they one of the top Deadman in the world, but also one of the best PvP players in all of RuneScape.
All right. Let's go, guys. It's the Summer 2018 finale. And it's unlike anything even close to the Summer 2017 finale, isn't it? So many massive changes we'll be covering very shortly. But first and foremost, introductions are kind of necessary. So I'll be your host, Mod Archie. Next to me is my beautiful co-host, Ian. How are you doing, Ian? Alongside Ian, we have Revan, first time to Deadman. How are you feeling, John?
I'm feeling great. It's fantastic to be out here. I was actually at the previous Deadman tournament in the crowd with you guys spectating last time, and it's finally great to be here on the broadcast side of things this time around.
Beautiful. Great to have you. And obviously, Mod.ie is no stranger to Deadman at all, representing Jagex for the casting side while I disappear, leave you guys with the hard stuff. How are you feeling today?
Yeah, great. It's third time being here now, and it's always a pleasure, and especially to be able to join alongside Revan and Ian and yourself as well. I love being here. It's so much fun. The crowd is wild. I know that the Twitch chat are going to be loving it as well. I can't wait to see what's going to happen in this tournament.
And I've just realized something, actually, while asking you that question is, I met you at the first time at a Deadman tournament. You were a player that came here. I walked off the stage, you gave me some Pokemon cards, I was like, what a great guy.
So that's how he got his job, he bribed you with Pokemon cards?
And now he's casting for Deadman.
Yeah, if you want a job at Jagex, give some Pokemon cards out, and there you go.
Anyways, we have so much to cover. Where should we start? We have the new rule in place. We should probably talk about that. Should we do that first? All right, so the pause feature. Who's confident that they know best about this?
Well, I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory. It's obviously in previous tournaments we've run into points where it would be beneficial if we could pause the gameplay there and then. Obviously, it's an online game, so typically you can't pause it. But well, actually, we can now.
At least that's what my mom told me.
Yeah. Well, we can't pause, but no, actually now we can. So if we do run into any scenario that will mean that we'll have to pause the gameplay, basically we'll pause the entire tournament. Everyone will be stopped in their tracks. There'll be a little notification so that you're aware. If you are a competitor, make sure that you're following at DMM updates. All information in terms of what's happening will be posted over there. While gameplay is paused, people will be able to eat. That's all they'll be able to do. So they're about to eat back up to full HP. They won't be able to move. They won't be able to change their gear. They won't be able to change their prayers. And that's just going to give us enough time to make sure that if we are in a situation, we can make sure that it's resolved, resume gameplay, back into the action.
All right, so I think I'd like a bit more of an explanation, or an introduction actually, for John Revan, the new face on the couches, rather. What's your history like with RuneScape?
Yeah, so I've been playing RuneScape ever since I was a kid. I think like most of you, I grew up with the game. One of the first online experiences I had with video games. Started back in the RuneScape classic days where I joined my first clan, the Hobbits of RuneScape, and then eventually once the old school servers were re-released, my heart was grasped once again by the game you guys created, and I have a wealth of PvP experience, right? In the pure scene, I was Warlord of Fatality for quite some time, and in the main scene, I was part of Ancient Fury. We had a historic rivalry against Rot for quite some time, so I know what's going on when it comes down to PvP, and I hope to share some of that experience with you guys at home.
We're really grateful to have you. There's the first one of the night. All right. Ian, do you want to talk us a little bit about what's about to happen? Let's talk format, what's happening in the beginning, the middle, and the end as we make our way to the 1v1.
Of course. So when we fly into the game, we have the stage 1, which is basically where a really powerful fog pushes people into 2 final areas, one being in Alakal, one being in Falador. This fog becomes more deadly as the further the game goes on. And our aim here is basically to push people into an area where they have to force to fight into combat. When we have 128 players left, that's 64 in each area, they'll be taken into a 1 versus 1 round where eventually we'll crown a winner and they will get a big part of the 32,000 prize pool.
20 grand, I think, yeah.
20 grand, yeah.
And to qualify to compete in this tournament, what do they have to do?
So the seasonal, which actually starts just after the tournament's ended, that goes on for a month, and the top 2,000 players of the high score are then put into this tournament where they have a week to sweat it out, to grind out their accounts, get whatever stats they can from level 3, reset the server, get whatever gear they can, and then up until this moment where they will fight it out for a chance at the grand prize.
Right, and Maraiza, do you want to run us through the supply chests? They're a little bit new, I think, as of the last couple tournaments.
Yeah, certainly. So in the last season, one of the things that was brought to us from player feedback, obviously Deadman being a game that is for the players, by the players, we might try and make as many changes as we can that suit the community. So the supply chests were there because it felt like there was a little bit of a lack in getting supplies. Obviously, everyone wants to focus on killing each other, right? No one wants to go out in the tournament, and especially and gather supplies. They don't want to get out the herbal or secondaries, food, and stuff like that. So the supply crates, they're basically going to be something that you can pick up once a day. You'll be able to get a piece of food in there. There's a starting weapons, there's a ranged weapon, magic weapon, and also a ranged weapon. In addition to that, we also have the actual supply drops themselves. So what's going to happen is throughout the game, we have 6 of them in total, around about every 15 minutes. There's going to be a location that will become highlighted within the chat, where a chest is going to drop, and the first person to open that chest is going to get some really powerful items. We're talking things like Arims, Carols, Whips, even an Infernal Cape and an Amulet of Fury. So some of these for players that haven't had the opportunity to really get involved with teams, and we're talking areas that have been locked down. Some people aren't able to get these items purely because clans have just completely closed them off. So it's a good opportunity for them to get a way to catch themselves up, have better chance to get into that 1v1. And well, let's face it, if you're going against someone, you have an Infernal Cape, they only have a Fire Cape, you've already got better odds.
Yeah. And it's a really risky situation, actually. If you want to try to camp one of these supply crates and try to get the reward, then you're going to be competing with the hundreds of other players that are going to be there. So if you're a powerful clan, you might be able to hold them down. But if you're a single player, you might be better off hiding somewhere in the outskirts, hoping you can last and leave them to die.
It's going to be really interesting to see who is actually going to go for them. I think in the past we've tended to find that the smaller groups of players will go for them, and the larger clans will just tend to want to lock down the final zones and just wait for prey to come in. And we've seen some really funny scenarios of level 40s going in and getting some, I think someone got DFS last time, and then 10 minutes later he just got smacked out. And you can go and pick it up. So it's just, that's one of the best things about the chest is you just don't know who's going to get it. So.
All right, so we've talked a little bit about what's going to happen during the finale here. You guys can talk so much more about that while you're casting. But I have one more job to do, and that is to introduce the players on stage. So guys, let's get a big warm round of applause for Manked Up Mage. Take a seat, Manked. Next to Manked is Skill Specs. Oh, sorry, MMORPG. Next to MMORPG, we do have Skill Specs. Thank you. Come on, guys. And last but not least, we have Robert. Okay. This is looking like a dream team for Deadman. I don't know about you guys, but how many Deadmans do you guys have between yourselves? Like, upwards of 30. You're a veteran. You've played every single season so far. Has your strategy changed much going into this one?
This one, it seems like Verax is the meta, so as long as we can get through the multi-zone 1v1s, got Verax, I can give it my best shot and hopefully come out with some money.
Are you worried about any clans targeting you specifically to take you out?
Friend finder's always an issue, so just gotta hope Rot don't hit me down first. More important people to focus on me, hopefully.
And if you do run into Skill Specs anytime in the finale, are you going to attack him?
I've got a second account I'm playing on at the same time. I might have to throw him a cheeky bolt in there. But nah, probably not. I'll probably leave him till the 1v1s if we can get it that far.
Smart words. Well, we're interviewing him next, actually, Skill Specs. How are you doing? You were up grinding pretty late last night. How's the account looking?
I wish I could tell you it was amazing, Chris, but it's pretty average, but I'm going to try my very best to kill everybody. I think that's my goal this time around. If I get to the final, then I'm there. But
you're really not looking bad. You've got a whip, you've got some good Barrows equipment. What's your mage and range looking like?
92 range, mage I didn't finish. I was gonna get vengeance, but it didn't work out. I fell asleep last night. I still stayed up till like 4 AM as well.
Okay, and last question I'll ask you then. If you find Robert in the wilderness, are you going to be attacking him?
I'll be honest, Chris. I will. I will attack you, Robert.
That's the right answer. At least he's honest. Up next, we have MMORPG. Probably played on this stage, like, I don't even know how many times.
Probably like 3 at ESL, 1 at RuneFest now, but yeah, I love coming for these events. Like, they're amazing every single time. The production quality of like these ESL events are absolutely amazing.
And what's it like playing at home, streaming just yourself, compared to streaming in front of a live audience and knowing that there are tens of thousands of people watching online?
The live audience kind of blurs out in the background. And when I'm playing on stage, I feel like I'm at my best potential as well. For some reason, I just like in the zone. But playing at home, like I was putting in like so many hours per day and it's just like more grindy. This is like so exciting, like not even nerves, just like pure excitement for me right now.
And I think you've got one of the most impressive streaming schedules and playing old school RuneScape schedules I've ever heard of. Can you share what this past week has been like for you?
Let's just say a lot of streaming. I'm pretty sure it was like 81, 82 hours within 6 days. Over 110 hours invested into Deadman mode. And we're probably about to lose it all in about 30 minutes. So we'll see how that goes.
Well, best of luck. If you make it to the 1v1s, I think you're going to win your first fight at least. We'll see how you do. Last but not least, a previous Deadman champion 3 tournaments ago, Manked. How has your strategy changed going into this tournament?
I've completely changed it to a Vrax and Venge strategy, so I'm not sure how it's gonna pan out, but we'll see.
And who are you rolling with? Are you running with the clan right now?
Yes, and I'm also dying, so that's not great. I'm currently rolling with Lit, and I think all of us are, so we'll see how it goes, and yeah, it should be good.
You're actually being attacked right now, so I'll leave you to it. Enjoy the tournament, and I'll walk my way back over to the casters real quick so we can talk about what we're about to watch. Guys, we've heard from the players on stage. Now we need to hear from you. Out of the 4 on stage, who's making it the farthest? Who's dying first?
I am so hyped for Curtis. He is feeling super confident, and he deserves to be here. He's put in the work all week, like you said, been grinding out RuneScape and the streams, and I want to see him go far. I want to see his PvP potential come out. He was a PKer before he started the Iron Man a few years ago, and I think he'd go really far. Obviously, Manked having the win under his belt 2 tournaments ago, he's got probably the fan favorite as well, and I just want to see Robert and Jay, battle it out, and maybe Jay can get his revenge.
I'd love to see a Robert versus Jay. If it doesn't happen, it needs to happen. Revan, how are you feeling about these guys?
For me, I'm going with Mank, man. He was warming up a little bit earlier, gets me in some 1v1s, and he kicked my butt pretty hard. So his clicks are going to be on point. I'm also looking at Curtis to make it pretty far. We saw in the highlight video that he had a really close fight against Grassface last time around. And when we talk about skill specs and Roberts, I think for the most part, those are more aggressive type players. So they're going to get involved in the action early on, but skill specs is a bit out-leveled, maybe a little bit out-geared. I think he's going to be the first one down.
Fair point. Maraiza, how are you feeling?
Yeah, I mean, the people we have on stage, brilliant players, all of them, I think, deserve to be here. They've all put in extreme amounts of work. I think in terms of who's going to take it, my money's on Manked, mostly because he has the experience, he's won it before, he's a very competent PKer. But I do think that the dark horse out of this whole tournament is going to be Curtis, MMORPG. Mostly down to the fact his pure confidence, as Ian said. To not be nervous and to be excited in this moment is just going to be on point. He's not going to be worrying, and that's probably what's going to be best for him. He's not going to be concentrating about making sure his switches are right. So it's going to come natural to him. I'm really interested to see how it pans out.
I definitely agree with that. I don't think it's something that you can really explain properly. The difference in playing at home in the comfort of your home and playing on stage in front of a live audience and with thousands of people watching you, knowing how much is on the line, and especially how much time you've spent this past week grinding. To throw away 80 to 100 hours, potentially by the smallest little mistake, or if a clan wants to target him, that is absolutely insane. I can't believe what's going on in his head. How he stays calm, I don't know.
To think it could just be all over in 1 minute. Gone.
I mean, at the same time, 3 of them are going with Lit, the clan, and that's Mank to Robert, and I'm pretty sure Curtis as well. Now, Jay is a lone wolf. He's going around trying to kill as many people as he can. But if they do rock with Lit and Lit get far, they could definitely secure themselves a spot. And all 3 of them, potentially even 4 if Jay gets there, could make it to the final. And that would be really fantastic to watch someone pit up against each other.
Definitely. If I was to watch one of these guys streaming right now, my first choice is definitely skill specs.
Skill specs?
He might die first, but it's going to be a great 10 minutes. you know, and
especially considering how the early game typically plays out for Deadman. Yeah, SkillSpecs is going to be the guy to watch. And I can speak a little bit about playing in front of a crowd. I've done it a couple of times before in my playing career. It's something that, you know, in the first couple of moments, you might get those, you know, jitters a little bit. But once the action gets going, that adrenaline gets flowing through your system, these guys are going to be feeling right at home.
Right. Well, I think these guys are actually already being attacked, so I'm just going to say a few final words, and we're going to see if we can throw to the gameplay and let you guys get to it. So let's just talk real quickly about the formatting once again. We have obviously the 2 final areas with the fog pushing the players together. Once we get the final 164, we go into a 1v1 segment. Then I'm joining you guys back on the couches, and we can talk that through, and then we'll see a grand finale with 20 grand going to the last guy standing. I'll let you guys get a bit more in detail with that, but the action is already kicking off, and I really don't want to waste any time.
It does seem like there's a huge clump of people here in Edgeville Bank, and there's just hits being flown everywhere. One of the most important things to note right now is that whilst we're in this permadeath stage, during the tournament, you can die and you can just respawn. You lose stats, you lose some of your items, but you can log back in. If you die in this moment, that is it. You are out. You are not coming back. Your tournament career is over from that point on. So anyone in this bank right now, not only is this costing them a huge amount of supplies, which, let's face it, are going to be vital when you're coming up to the point of actually moving away to these final areas. It's probably why they're in the bank. But it's also the fact that at any moment, one of them could just get instantly specced out. They could just be taken out, and that's it, done.
Yeah, especially with everything that's going on right now, you really got to be making sure that you're paying attention to your own HP, who's attacked you. This is a moment where you just might want to throw an auto-retaliate and make sure that at least if you're being attacked, you're doing some damage back. And we could already see some loot being dropped on the ground, so people are dying in this bank despite having easy access to their supplies.
And let's talk a little about the big giants of Deadman mode. So in the previous tournaments, we've seen Rot and Lit go very, very far. And in this bank right now, we can actually see quite a few people right there. And I can't see what I'm casting. But anyway, so Rot basically, last tournament, they actually took the win with Verax. A guy called Rinnier, I'm pretty sure, went all the way, and he won the $20,000 grand prize. In that bank right there, we saw a bunch of Lit members. We saw some streamers as well. Curtis was there too. And we had Rot as well in the bank, fighting off against each other, maybe trying to pick off some of the lower levels, because obviously Rot has about, I think, 150 players, whereas Lit Alliance has almost 400. So in a sheer number game, in multi-zones, they have not a good chance of winning.
Yeah, absolutely. It's also important to note that out of all those accounts, some might be like double accounts that they're playing on either skilling on or using them for scouts in the wilderness. So if you don't have a lot of PvP experience with clanning, like you're going to be moving in a group. These guys will have live intel in the other clans, but as that live intel starts to go away, you're going to rely on scouts for information on what's going on around your main group.
And that's another thing to talk about as well is the Lit Alliance we talked about, called Cold, I believe. You have Lit, CD, DL, I think, and a few other smaller clans that combine together to take on this massive Rot force, because people don't want to see Reign of Terror winning.
Number one goal, kill Rot.
Basically, yeah, and they want to try and take them out early on. Rot are a multi-clan. They've been around for many, many years now. They need no introduction, really, for the RuneScape community. But I think their strength is in multi, in their strategy, in their kind of togetherness, moving around the map. And that's going to be very difficult to beat and to rival, especially for a clan like Cold, where several different alliances form together to try and take them on. Maybe the comms aren't going to be as unique as Rot's are and as strategized, but what do you think is going to happen?
We'll wait and see what happens. The thing is, like, obviously you have maybe more numbers in favor of Lit, but that organization might not be there, whereas Rot, like, they have trust in their main caller. Not only that, they have a lot of trust with the person they're fighting next to by side, and that's something that you can't stress the importance enough. You know, some of these Lit guys, you know, they might be playing for the group, but at the end of the day, like, they're looking out for themselves. Yeah. So these guys on Rot, they're playing for the clan, and they want to make sure that it's the clan above everything else.
Exactly. I mean, with an alliance of 400+ people, it's very potential that they have to start BSing each other, backstabbing, and only a few people can go through, 128 players, 64 in each area. And it's going to come down to literally maybe 200 versus 200 in one area, 100 versus 100. What do you do at that point? Do you wipe out the whole of a clan, or do you start taking out your own members to try and just get people through, as we've seen in the past?
I think calling is probably the biggest aspect to define whether this team's going to win or not. Rot have one of the best callers, statistically, apparently, in old school RuneScape. Well, we've seen them before with minimal numbers taking out teams 3 times their size. And I think that's largely because of their caller. In their synchronization, they can move around like a swarm.
It's unparalleled.
Now, if the caller dies, who's next? If the backup caller dies, who's next? I think this is what these teams need to be
People have to
out.
step up, and in those situations, I believe, Rot definitely has the experience to go far. And talking about clan leadership and in terms of calling, we met each other in the wilderness a few times, haven't we, Revan?
Yeah, I've spammed at you a couple times in my career, made you shut off the stream a little bit, but it's something, like I said, you have to have trust in your main caller. And for the side of Rot, you know, there's also the capability that if that main caller dies, he could screen share with someone and at least watch the screen and see what's going on with the action after death. So, and although although it does pain me to say it a little bit, Rot's a very creative clan. You remember a couple tournaments ago when Lit tried to hide in their team capes? Rot had that team cape switch in their inventory. This time around, Lit's running around with the purple skins. Rot definitely know what's going on, and I'm sure they have a plan to combat it.
Just to expand on the purple skins a little bit, yeah, quite an interesting strategy here. So obviously, one CC, one clan chat can hold up to 100 people, but there's an alliance of several hundred at the same time. So how do you know who to off, who not to off? They have this different like color scheme. Everyone's in pink hair, pink clothes, you off each other. And as I said before, Rot, they do integrate well into other clans. They have spies everywhere, and they'll be in the comms as well, making sure they're kind of rivaling the opponents. Wherever they move, they're like one step ahead, a bit like a chess game, and make sure they can get ahead, basically.
And something weird is about this tournament. We're missing the biggest clan, the clan that won the last tournament,
Yeah.
Madaiza. Do you know where they've gone?
Do you know what? I just imagine that it's because they are having a nice enjoying time with the money that they won last time. It's like, I think it's vacation season for Finns at the moment, Fools being obviously a mostly Finnish clan. There's a few guys that are around, a few solo players that are making their way. They've got pretty far. They've got some good account stats. We'll talk about that a little bit later as we go through the Permadeath stage. But yeah, they've just decided to not fully partake in this one, but I believe that next tournament they'll probably come back bigger and stronger. So.
Yeah. And
you've a little bit said, so yeah, I love watching the country clans play. They play with such passion and pride. And I actually spoke to Irameri. He's one of the Fools leaders.
Yep.
He's tagging along with Rot this time around, so that's certainly a little bit weird to see, considering they have their own rivalry in game as well.
Yeah. And you've done a good job this past week gathering data from these clans. You guys all have. But I know you've got an iPad with some really interesting data on it and information and intel that I have no idea what it says. So I'm really curious to see what you've got as far as gossip goes. Who's playing for which team? Who plans to BS who? Who knows what items are in the game?
You're going to have to stay tuned, and we'll start leaking those throughout the duration of this tournament. But there has been some very interesting strategies that clans have been putting together. We were going around last night in as an invisible J-mod just to figure out exactly where people were, what areas were locked down towards the very tail end of the tournament. And from the list that we've been given, the data that we have, certainly one of the most strategized tournaments by far. As we said before, people are very experienced now. They know what they're doing. They've nailed it down. They know what's the best route to take, and they know what the strongest items are, and that's exactly what they've been doing. And I believe this 1v1 tournament, when we get to that final 1v1 stage, it's really going to shine through.
Yeah, this has been the most competitive tournament so far, I think, in terms of people not messing around. No one's PKing. I myself actually took part in this tournament just for fun, just so I could have an idea of what all the clans are doing and such. And I went along with Lit this time, actually, and I went around PKing. I just couldn't find a single person. Nobody is out there fighting each other. Everyone is training in really not dangerous places, safe places where they can make a lot of money, get the experience they need. And yeah, we'll see if it's actually been worthwhile for a lot of them.
Well, I'm very conscious of time as we've been talking and the game is already underway. I'd like to get some final thoughts from Revan before we actually hop in game. So, John, how are you feeling?
I'm feeling great. I can't wait to get the action going, and just tagging off of what Ian said, some changes carrying over from the seasonal tournament adds to the fact that there's more survivability in this game. People know where to train, they know where to play, and it seems like everybody you go to attack, like you have to assume that they have at least 6 brews since due to the increased secondaries, increased potions from all the monster drops, so it's a lot harder to kill people, and I feel like most of the players have been focusing a lot on questing this time around. I remember watching Mank's stream, 2 days in, he was fully quested, like had everything ready to go and fully geared up, and from there on, all he had to do was focus on training, which with the accelerated XP rates, not too tough to do.
Yeah. It's unbelievable seeing the progress these guys have made on an account in just a week, being maxed with
more than I've made in 4 years.
And all that. But it's finally time for us to stop talking. I'm going to head to center stage. And we'll let you guys know, we have the Deadman Twitter account. That's at DMMUpdates. You can follow it if you're a competitor or if you're just a viewer. That's going to relay you information as far as the pause feature goes or anything related to the tournament. If you're curious what's going on when the tournament gets paused, go to that Twitter account. You can find out. Similarly, if you're a viewer and you want to interact with us and get your tweet on the screen, hashtag Deadman Summer is our hashtag. So go ahead and use that. And my last thing I'm going to say here is multi-Twitch is a great thing. All of these guys are streaming. There are so many people streaming this tournament, not just us. Open up a few tabs, enjoy the show. It's going to be a great tournament. Thanks, guys.
Here we are, straight into the action, back into Edgefield Bank, as we've seen before. Lots of people here. Seems like the action has time to quieten down. No one's fighting. Maybe it's because they've decided that they didn't want to waste their supplies or waste their time. Guys, I am so excited. How are you feeling about this tournament right now?
Absolutely fantastic, to be honest. Yeah, thank you everyone at home that's watching on Twitch and everyone here today in the studio that's come over all the way to Leicester to come see us cast and see the final. So right now in Edgefield Bank, as I said before, we have a few big names. Revan, who are you seeing here that you notice?
I see Mani, one of the best Finnish PKers we have in RuneScape. I see Curtis, we got him on stage, MMORPG, Romans as well, Robert there too. So we got two of our 4 streamers on stage here, some top quality hybrids as well. And look, if we know these names of these players, you can be certain that the other clans too. These are going to be some high priority targets for them to take down when it comes to those big multi-fights. And when we speak of those big multi-fights, you have to understand what role you play for the clan. Are you just like that frontline meat tank, try to absorb some of the damage being thrown at you and survive long enough to maybe pave the way for one of your top tier hybrids to make it through the final stages?
Yeah, so interesting you talk about roles in that sense. There are multiple roles that happen within clans, and Deadman being obviously a huge event of getting everyone together, and people realised that in order to have the best chance of success, you need to make it to that 1-8 with the best gear, with the best stats. How are you going to get there? Well, you need supplies, you need food, you need potions, you need gear. Seems like Lit, I'd imagine that we're with Lit right now. The guys that we have on stage, they're all wearing the purple gear. Lit have had a few members that have been assigned what I assume are just certain roles. For example, we have a particular fellow that we found last night at the Minnows fishing, which is obviously gathering sharks, with 21 million fishing XP.
Wow.
Now, obviously, we've got accelerated experience rates, but that's one big chunk.
Funded the whole team, hasn't he?
Yeah, likewise. There was a poor chap sat in the middle of the wilderness, all on his own. What was he doing? Turns out he was the guy that was assigned to farm black chinchompers.
Okay.
Okay.
Obviously, we say black chinchompers. So what is a black chinchomper? Why would people want that?
Yeah, so it's AoE damage that you could throw in these multi-areas. It's the highest tier AoE damage that we have for range. I also see people camping red chinchompas, a little bit south of the Castle Wars teleport. So that's going to be important not only for training range XP to get up towards 99, but also when it comes down to these big fights, just spreading out damage. Because a lot of people think of barrages when you think of AoE damage, and rightfully so. You throw up that Protect from Magic prayer, so the chinchompas are just going to do extra damage and avoiding those overhead prayers.
Another big reason for collecting chinchompas is the whole clan mentality of feeding certain players. And obviously, we have PKers who are very accomplished. They understand what they're doing. Those are the guys that are going to get through to the 1v1 stage and actually make it right through to the end. So you have certain players that are very good at PKing potentially. They might be better at skilling and collecting chinchompas.
Oh, sorry to tweet that in, but it
no.
looks like this unfortunate chap with his fishing cape has just been absolutely piled on by a huge clump of people. Unfortunate for him. Spent a lot of time gathering supplies. I wonder if that was for himself or with another team, but that's one person out of the tournament already.
Talking about other teams, I'm not too sure which team this is right now, but a few other teams you haven't mentioned yet is Rads 201cc. They're a big group, 100+ players, I'm pretty sure. So obviously you have the normal alliances and the normal teams you normally see, like Lit, we have Rot. But Rads 201 is actually a CC made up of lots of solo players. People that can't find a clan, they join together. They feel that, in numbers, they are unmatched. They are really strong solo players, and they will definitely go far. If they get a few people to the 1v1 stage, they feel like they could take it.
Yeah, I don't think we mentioned CT either. Cutthroat playing in this one. They're a strong multi-clan. They've been around the PvP scene for quite some time. But we see some players here with some pretty strong gear. The Major Arena upgraded cape. He's got full arms as well, the staff. And during the start of these Deadman tournaments, these big clans, they don't want to fight each other, right? You want to survive to the final 1v1 stages with optimal gear, optimal supplies going into those final areas. So they're just going to spread out. Like I was saying, they have live intel on what's going on in these other clans. Up until that spy dies, that leak dies, you know what's going on around the map. And once that spy does wind up dying, they're going to have scouts. That's probably a scout right there from Lit falling. You see with the purple skin as well. You see all these clans just falling down. You see the supply drop, the first chest drop about to come down on the map, 1:40 until that falls.
Yeah, so that first supply drop is going to be landing in Lumbridge, right near the general store. Inside that one, we're going to find ourselves a whip and Varroc's plate legs.
And that is only for one player as well.
Varroc's skirt, sorry, yeah, for one player. So one player's going to have the chance to get that. It'd be really interesting. We said before that some people don't like going for them because of that risk-free reward factor, but there's certain to be someone there, and there's always going to be action around that.
And it's so difficult to get those items as well. As we saw last time, the winner of the demo tournament actually had the Varroc strategy, so Varroc being one of the best in-slot gears you can actually have. And Barrow's also locked down by certain clans. There's only one world. So with only one world, if you want to go do Godwall's Dungeon, you want to go do catching chinchompas or throwing chinchompas even. Yeah, good luck if a clan of clans camping it down and will take you out. But yeah, these items definitely going to be absolutely incredible for the 1v1 final.
I mean, When you speak around the difficulty of gaining these items, we mentioned Abyssal Whip and the Verex Plate Skirt. As of 12 o'clock today, there were only 65 whips in the entire tournament.
That surprises me. There were so many people with 85 Slayer just grinding them out every single day in the Slayer Tower, although it is a very dangerous place to do Slayer and to get drops.
Of course. And in addition to that, you mentioned Verex being the meta that came to light last tournament. That brought forward, and well, we saw how strong that was. How many players? There are 22 players with a full set of Verex this tournament.
22, wow.
We know Mank is at least one of them, so...
And so is Robert. Robert's also got his set too. Okay. And as we see here, like last time, we have the studded warrior with the chef's hat about to take his Abyssal Whip. He can't even wield it, but he's still going to grab it if he can. That is actually really surprising. No clans have actually gone to dominate this one, and it's a toss-up between all three of these players right now.
One thing I will say is this certainly is not Lumbridge General Store for anyone out there that's not familiar. Not exactly sure.
Oh, interesting strategy goes to the tangle. Oh, come on, tell them both. Gets the chef's hat guy. Can you have one as well? Potentially. Nope, he splashed.
Straight onto his head.
I like how he was standing under the chest that was about to fall on his head, and he's forced to teleport away. So the chest is going to go to that scout. He's going to probably run it to his clan, maybe trade the items over to somebody who needs it the most. As the Chef Hat Warrior is dead. He's not making out of this alive. No way.
They want to team up on it together? Is that Jay right now going for kills? Yeah. But I mean, regardless, like if you get that item, it's only for one player, so you've got to give it to your strongest players before, trying to give... oh, he's down anyway. If he's actually got the items, he's just giving them away to that guy with the Ivan Staff. Interesting choice for the final, John.
Yep, I mean, it's certainly a strong early weapon game. You could bang that quest out and help your mage training stats early on, as we can see the inventory of that player as well. I didn't see a weapon there, so I'm not sure if that was the player. Maybe it was the Rune Knight Scout.
Yeah, he ran away straight away, so it makes it seem like he maybe grabbed something quite valuable and just wanted to get out of there before he got destroyed.
But the Bald Warrior still staying alive, just looking to get some information. Maybe he's a solo player, maybe he's with a team. In the meantime, this looks like here we see some familiar faces in this Fallen. And once again, staying in the singles area, they're just trying to wait, buy time. You heard how confident these guys were, saying, if we could just make it to that final 1v1 area, they're confident in their abilities, and they truly think that they can win it. So they're just going to try to waste time off the clock, wait until we're down. Still, we see around 669 players remaining, so closing in on that 128-player mark.
And at Edgeville, of course, we have the bank as well. You can quickly grab any supplies out. It's quite a safe place to stand. Although when you are banking, if you are banking, people can hit you and you can't actually eat your food for several seconds. You've got to be careful. You've got to understand the game mechanics. And if you don't, well, goodbye. That's permadeath, and you are out of the tournament altogether if you die at this point.
For sure. I mean, in terms of obviously everyone dying, everyone's got their strategies. If you were to be taking on the tournament yourself, Ian, what kind of strategy would you adopt?
In terms of gear setup in the end?
In terms of this final area now, obviously, the build-up, we're aware, I think you played in the tournament yourself, you were saying.
Yeah, I played this whole week, just PKing, running around, trying to get some kills, make some content, enjoy myself while I could, since I'm casting today. And if I was a player right now, I'd be with my clan, trying to stay away from combat, trying to avoid it as best I could, right until the final 128, so I can ensure my spell in the 1v1 stage.
Great. And yourself, Revan, would you adopt would you want to be with a clan, take this passive approach, lock down the final areas, or would you be like, come on, guys, let's go out and just demolish our competition?
I mean, one part is, yeah, it's like survival of the fittest, so you would love to see these guys just roam around like sharks in a big sea and just feeding on these little fishes, but you also got to keep in mind, they're playing for that $32,000 prize pool. So for me, yeah, I'd be rolling with a team, hanging back. For me, I prefer playing that mage style, so I'd kind of be in the back lines, just trying to catch clumps, throwing out barrages left and right.
But let's talk about
spread out around the map.
Let's talk about the benefit of actually taking advantage of getting into combat this early on. If you do kill people in this game mode, their items, unlike in normal RuneScape, if you drop any kind of Barrows items, DFS, something like that, they normally go uncharged or 0% in damage potential. You would actually have that full, completely. You could just pick it up and wear it. So if a clan does engage in combat with another clan and they win that fight, they could potentially make their members even stronger and have more of a chance of winning the 1v1 stage. And no Tress dropping in just under 3 minutes.
Yeah, also feeding those players that weren't able to get that top tier gear.
Yep.
Maybe somebody's just sitting in regular black D hides. You PK, maybe like a Carol skirt. It's an upgrade.
So well, as Ben said earlier, we only had, what, getting whips in the game or something like that? So getting an item like that or taking one from the opponent makes, a remarkable difference.
And just being able to, increase your gear over time. I mean, we're looking at a few people here that are fighting. We've mentioned that people tend to want to go for this passive approach, but throughout the tournament, there have been many people that have been going out on rampages. For example, we can see that one particular player, Nicolas, has well over 300 kills to his name.
Really? Wow.
Across the entire tournament, we're looking at over 4,600 kills this week.
Wow.
So people definitely have been out there, but at the same time, we talk about supplies. Interestingly, over 160,000 sharks have been consumed during this week, and 136,000 doses of prayer potion.
Magical. I think a lot of the players as well, in terms of PKing spots, Barrows has been the big one, and a clan called Tartar, who are the World 45, the original demo mode PKers. They always play the tournaments. They haven't got the biggest force, but they are very accustomed to the game mode. They know exactly what they're doing, and that's why they decided to go to Barrows. It's the best gear in the game, pretty much obtainable, apart from God Wars Dungeon. Although mentioning that, I believe Rot has been camping God Wars Dungeon, haven't they?
Yeah, I think they've been sitting up at Zami. I saw that they were able to feed a Hasta over to Alfie, who was able to earn them a Dragon Crossbow, and I think we have some Staff of Deads in the game as well, so when we talk about mages later on in the game, especially when it comes down to that 1v1, if you're going to be using a Tribute, you could also use the Spec in these multi-areas to prevent any melee damage coming your way, so the Staff of Dead has a huge impact.
For sure, and it's definite that they have been there for quite some time. We have a lot of high-end items that are in the game currently. Compared to previous tournaments, we're looking at 2 Zamorak Godswords in the game.
Wow.
Alongside that, someone is going to be out there wearing full bandos.
Really?
Full bandos? That's a lot
I believe
of
that's something
bonus.
that we've seen before. We've seen an SGS before, Saradomin and Godsword. But that strength bonus, that defense bonus as well to go alongside that is going to be crucial to getting in the extra hits that you're going to need to just whittle down your opponent's supplies.
Curious to see how that would stack up against a full Varrock setup.
Oh, definitely. And a lot of one of the biggest metas as well in the demo tournament is going with full range setup, since range just hits through defense like nothing. But Bandos has incredible range defense stats, so maybe that will be the difference that they need to take the win. And talking about Rot again, Alfie, like as you mentioned before, was killing Vorkath all week, doing a tremendous work of doing that. Got himself a Dragon Crossbow, which he then gave to Rot as well. And he's been farming Vorkath and the Rune Dragons for lots of Dragonstone bolts, which make a huge difference in the 1v1 final. Only under 30 seconds now until its next supply drop comes in.
Interestingly, we've got a lot more players that are around here, and they are fighting. So it looks like there's one team, I'd imagine, because there's a few stragglers that keep coming in. They attack them and say, you know what, we're not going to chase the kill. This is just to let you know this is our territory. Get out of it. This is our chest now.
Well, only one person can take it, and who will it be? Will it be the guy in the Phoenix necklace, the Guffin's helm? He comes any second now, and it's about to drop. And this is indeed the same as last time, I believe, right, Dan?
We'll hopefully have a inspection on the player that grabs it. We've got the guy in the Runeform helm and the red
potentially?
cape.
Oh, he's in
Everyone is now
combat straight
attacking
away.
him, so that's going to be a straight attack into him. Want to take down whatever it was that he grabbed. Maybe they weren't a team. Maybe they're just random players and they're just all, straggling around.
Just a reminder, if you want to get involved in the conversation, feel free to tweet us. Use the hashtag Deadman Summer, and we can read a few of those out. Would appreciate your thoughts at home. Who are you guys rooting for? Who do you think is going to take the win? We also have Mika here, who is a popular YouTuber who's doing absolutely fantastic this week. He's been playing like 20 hours a day, I'm pretty sure. He is fully maxed out. I'm talking 99 attack, strength, defense, mage, range, everything. He's also got 92 prayer, being the highest combat level, I'm pretty sure, in the entire tournament. Will that be a good thing for him, being 125 combat? Maybe people will notice that and try and target him first, because in the past, he's gotten very far, to the top 5 several times now, actually, in the finals.
Yeah,
so he's one to watch for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. We already mentioned that there are high priority targets in each and every clan that these guys want to take out of the game early on in these big multi-fights, and having something like 125 combat is certainly something that's going to make you stand out to the other clan. Sure, those extra prayer points are going to help.
It's a pure. Full health Chaos Druids. That is brilliant. I don't know why he's been camping the Chaos Druids up in level 13 Wilderness. That's a very rare drop. I need to get them on Iron Man still, but wow, fantastic to him. I don't know why he's using them, but maybe he can go far. What do you think?
What kind of
book
book
does
he
he
have?
setup?
Does he have a Zami book, or was
I think it was a Zami book too, yeah. Dress comes a pure. Maybe he is a pure this whole tournament. Bit of a disadvantage though, as combat level doesn't really mean much. And we have another clan, or a little small force out on the outskirts, again trying to avoid combat. And is that a rune?
That's a rune golem. Someone has
might be a Spark Mac.
No way.
Spark Mac has that pet as well.
Oh, is that Spark Mac and his tribe coming together, not wearing the tribal masks? It may well be, unless someone else has got also another rune golem pet. I feel so bad people that get pets. I have to actually kill someone.
You killed someone with a pet.
I did, yeah. I felt terrible because the chance of getting one is obviously so rare. But the tournament ends after a week anyway. This is the final, and all the accounts are removed from the game anyway.
Don't try to justify your noob slaying in. But yeah, 628 players now remaining. We've seen 2 chest drops so far, as the fog is starting to set in over the key areas of the map, and certainly the pace is going to pick up a bit as that fog really starts to set in. We're starting to see Lit venture out on the map as they're looking over your single strip.
Well?
Yeah, I saw that little DK pet over there.
So that means B-rings are in the game as well.
Yeah, B-rings, perhaps maybe even Sears rings if you're a mage. Archer ring as well could be super helpful. I see Infinity Boots. I was watching Barnes PK the other day. I saw he's got a mage's book as well. And when we talk about alternate accounts, like those are just some tedious tasks that you could do that it'll pay off dividends towards the end of the tournament.
Yeah, I mean, I believe that Robert earlier was actually AFKing in Nightmare Zone to get some points to imbue his Berserker ring. Yeah. So there's definitely a lot of them out there, especially if he was able to get a hold of one.
I mean, obviously, in the final, we're going to have the 1 versus 1. You get the same inventory every single round, so the same sharks for every player. So having those little bonuses that give you maybe a max hit or 2 max hits over, when it comes down right to the last bit of HP, the last shark or 2, it definitely makes a huge difference.
Just saw a D-Spear on the ground. That's certainly something that we could see. The special attack come into play once these multi-fights do kick off, just stunning your opponent. But of course, early on, it's a high-risk, high-reward thing. Sure, you can maybe stun a high-priority target, but you're also putting yourself in a rough position. You could get frozen out and cut out of the game early on. Another chest drop about to come in, 2 minutes, 40 seconds away. We see it about to drop outside the Edgefield Bank, where we have some other lit members posted up. MMORPG as well as Mani still sitting pretty next to the bank.
Yeah, surprising actually. They had 2, I think both clans we just saw right there were both lit, or the Cold Alliance, just going to show the true numbers and the power that they have. A force of, I think, almost 400 people right now, whereas Rot have, I think, 160 or so, I think you said, Ben?
Yeah, that's correct. We believe around about 160 members, but I mean, let's not forget the fact that more than half of them have really good accounts, and we're talking high 90s, really good gear. They have not been slacking this tournament at all. And we've spoke earlier about the difference between having a clan that is almost like an open CC. You get a lot of different people joining in. Yes, they might each individually be skilled, and as an individual clan, they know how each other work. But when you come together, it's very difficult to keep coordinated. And that's, I mean, you've got to hand it to them. That's where Rot triumph. They've been through it all. They've experienced so many different PK kind of environments, and they just know what they're doing. They know their call in. They're well integrated, and it's going to shine through, I think.
I completely agree with you there. Their multi-experience is certainly something that's going to separate them apart from the rest of these clans. They've just been in so many different situations, in so many different scenarios, you know, on the main server, that if they come across something, you know, the calling is going to be decisive. And not only that, their members aren't going to second guess. They're going to trust in the instincts of their main callers, and they're going to follow it through as soon as that call is made. As we're starting to see some clans venture out towards the deep wilderness, just trying to gain some early positioning maybe towards that final area.
Yes, the final area up in the wilderness is actually Greater Demons. Now, of course, this is quite an iconic place for old-school RuneScape PKers. A lot of wars over the years happening there, and it's no different to Rot especially. They're very familiar with the area. Less than 1 minute now until the next chest does drop as well. And talking a bit more about Anakal and the Greater Demons area, you can go from the east, the west, the south. There are lots of ways you can actually jump in, and I think both areas, Falador as well, you've got to be always aware that you're not getting sniped from behind or closed in on, so to speak.
Yeah, speaking a bit more about Falador, there's like a single square area like to the southwest of the statue that you always got to be careful of it, especially like if you're on the main server in a PvP world. I've seen so many times, you know, big clans just get glossed out just by getting caught a little bit out of position, and that's something like these guys need to go through, make sure they know the multi-lines around the map, because as we stated, you know, some of these final areas aren't traditionally in the wilderness, you know, over towards Falador. You got to know where the single line starts and ends, and prepare and spread your clan properly.
Chest dropping in just under 15 seconds now. We have a tweet coming in from Alexa General. Slay the Smork, he says. Another one from Tom saying, hype, let's go OSRS. Can I get a hey your Twitch chat? I'm sure they'll say a bunch of hey guys in the Twitch chat for you, Tom. Thank you for the tweet as well. 5 seconds left. Now, which member out of the 700 right now are going to grab this one, as only one can get the item?
I wonder how the comms are going through right now. Everyone's shouting, I'll take it, I'll take it, I'll take it, I'll take it. I believe in this one should be a Carol's Top and Aram's Leg, so it's quite a nice one.
Huge. Carol's Top being one of the biggest mage defense bonuses in the entire game. Having that bonus actually stops a lot of freezes being able to hit you, so you can walk around quite freely and absorb a lot of damage as well.
Yeah, so players getting frozen. We were having a quick look again earlier today, and there are around 160 plus members that currently have unlocked the ability, the magic level at least, for Ice Barrage.
Oh, wow.
So we spoke about Red Chin Chompers, ranged AoE attack. Ice Barrage. What's the importance of Ice Barrage in these kind of scenarios?
Obviously, magic AoE damage, plus you have the ability to freeze your opponent, stop their movement around the map, and keep them locked in their tracks. Big clumps are going to form. They're inevitable. So having the AoE damage accessible to multiple members of your clan are just going to make you kill more people as quickly as possible. This is where one of the final areas is going to be. We're already starting to see some scouts make their way over here, just gaining some information for your clan. You know, just walking ahead of the main group, making sure that you know for sure what you're about to walk into.
And that guy in the middle got his fists up, very ready for the combat, for the 1 versus 1. The pink gloves on, the boxing gloves. He's more than ready. How do you think this final is going to go then? Do you think people are going to be standing around the edges, having your clan experience that you do have, Revan? Or do you think it's going to come down to just a big cluster and everyone flying at the same time?
I think eventually it'll come down to that big cluster, but for the time being, it's just going to be slow rotations, just inching closer and closer to these final areas until that time finally comes. Obviously, we have the information that there are 600 players remaining, and remember, we're not speaking about that Falador single area. It's right here in this southwestern corner, as we see one clan setting up here. You see a lot of tank rangers just ready and waiting, some loot already being dropped on the ground.
And the significance of that single area, actually, and just explain that, elaborate that a bit more, is that if you're in this single area, you can hit people in multi, but they cannot hit you in multi. So those AoE spells we talked about before are just going to be so crucial and so huge because you do so much more damage. Maybe you're outnumbered by, let's say, 50 people or 100 people, as some clans are right now. But if you're having those spells and you're not taking much damage yourself, you can wipe them out so quickly if you have the numbers.
And it's so hard to sustain that damage. I really think it's worth it. You do see some people just camping that P-neck on their body. It's something that could literally save your life in those big multi-fights. I really think it's worth even just one inventory space. If you get caught out of position, caught in a clump, just throw in that P-neck and just pray to the god of your choice that it pops.
Yeah, so I think it's 20% health once you get under that. The P-neck will break, it will absorb damage, and it will heal you. So it's like a lifeline, the last little clutch that you can possibly have before falling. And no way. I just had confirmation that the Rot slave, Alfie, has just died to a guard, apparently.
Oh, what a way to go.
He's been grinding so hard. He had 200 quest points plus from doing Vorkap. He's been sweating the whole tournament out so damn hard. And wow, he just goes like that to a guard in a safe zone. I can't believe it.
Now, we didn't see what happened, but I bet somebody from Rot speared him into the safe zone.
You think it was a bit of a BS or something?
100%.
So we just had a quick sneak peek there. Sorry to Alfie to move on, but I mean, you died to a guard, so we can't spend too much time talking about that. There's only so many ways that it can happen. We have a quick look at the heat map at the moment. We do have a supply drop that's going to be coming out in the next 2-3 minutes or so. But if we're able to get a shot of this, you'll be able to see how the clans are kind of like forming towards the areas. We'll hopefully get over to that at some point in the future, but. In the meantime, let's have a look at the sea.
Water.
I mean, this is great.
Sailing hasn't been released yet.
Look at those
can't get there just yet, but from what we could see on the heat map, it's clear that a lot of clans are just holding the single lines, right? Just waiting for the final players to take down before they decide to rush into multi. Holding single strip, holding over near the Wilderness Agility course and over towards Fouled, where we know where the single lines are there.
Yeah, it is a patience and a waiting game, of course. You don't want to just run into certain areas and then get piled out by other clans. It's all about positioning and strategy and waiting out.
Perfect. So looking over... Sorry about that. We can now finally get a shot of the heat map for you. We are able to see, if I zoom in for you, there's quite a few members that are sitting out in Falador at the moment. We've got these clumps. As you say, this group here were the group that were near the fences and the trees, just outside of the final zone in the square. Another group just here and here. You can probably almost just say what kind of clans they would be if we knew. You're just like, clan 1, 2, 3, straight away. All the way up to the north as well, we can then see the way that the other teams are kind of like forming and the way that they're doing their movements towards those areas.
And I feel bad for these clans that are going to get caught in the middle of one another. They're just going to get sandwiched and caught out immediately. You saw it being formed over near the Falador area, and you see two potential flanks and pinches coming in over towards the greater demon side. So these clans got to be careful and be aware of their positioning. Just goes back to what I was saying before, and I'll reiterate again. Make sure that you have the live intel of what's going on with these other clans. Make sure you have the scouts around these final areas, so you know for a fact when a clan's going to be rushing you and from what direction, so you can prepare properly.
And just to elaborate on that again, actually the east side of Anakal, of that area, is actually all single strips. So it's just 1-versus-1 combat. As you can see right here, being caught in a 1-versus-1 area. And Zippo, with the MSB, Elf Mage over here. Nice and nostalgic seeing him around. We have a Purple Man there, part of the Cold Alliance most likely. Now obviously, if Zippo is able to kill this guy...
Skill Specs just coming in to watch the fight at the same time.
Come on, son, get yourself a kill. I don't see any keys above your head, mate. He's skull. He's definitely tried to get one, but I guess he doesn't want the pink man, clearly.
Clearly, he's already upgraded his gear. Last time we were watching him play, he had a power ammo.
Oh, my God, the PJ! He could have got him right there as well. The guy was on like 60 hit points, but unfortunately, Jay's strength is only around, I think, 80-something, so if he had a bit more levels, then it probably would have been a KO, but now... Unfortunately, Jay caught out of position. He has no mage offense as well. He's only got range and melee. So against this hybrid, it's going to be pretty difficult for him to win. But he's with a clan right now. Looks like he's joined Lit by the looks of things. Robert, him and Robert working together? Now that is a surprise to me.
I'm sure it was only a few moments ago that we heard Skill Specs himself say that if he did come across Robert in the wilderness, he would take him out.
Maybe they had to put their differences aside when they saw the mass power of Rot. And here we go again with another chest drop. Lynx Titan going to pick it up. Ooh, he's got a training sword, and now he also has crazy armor. Look, by the looks of things, the other guy's attacking him, so he definitely picked it up. but the fog is now really impacting them. The damage is going to start coming in. Falls. Oh my God, he got one hit, and the man gets away. There is no way he stepped to the fog. What a great lure. And now he's away with it.
Pink skin.
The question is he going to go into the... No, don't go into the fog as well. No, he's fine. He's walking away with the items to his clan, hopefully, to try and feed them. Quite an interesting strategy, having a scout to go get the items for you, the supply drops, without having to take that, huge damage from the fog and get caught in it.
This is something that's like low risk, high reward, right? You send that alternate account over there to gain the items. You don't risk losing some high priority members or at least a meat shield there in the final fights. As 590 players, slowly but surely we're getting there. Once we hit 128 remaining, 64 in each final area, then we'll move on to stage 2, the 1v1s.
We also have a tweet coming in right now from ZLM Bird saying, this tournament makes me want to play some OSRS. It's been too long. Well, jump on board, come online. And after the
season starts
ends,
right after this?
Exactly, straight after the tournament, you can jump onto a new season and get involved yourself with some demo mode action. Obviously, increased experience rates makes it a lot more fun, a lot less grindy than the average MMO. So yeah, hop on board.
It's
right now,
never too late to start playing old school. That's just all I'm going to say.
That's true,
you can never quit. But these guys got to be careful. Not sure which clan it is, but they're in multi-combat era right now. As you're starting to see, you might want to spread out. We saw on the heat map, there's a clan just west of them. Could be some engagements going down here as they're looking to hold the Spider Hill, high ground. Could be pretty impactful here as they make their way over towards the lava pit. Just trying to isolate player by player. And even though it's just one kill, it's just thinning the numbers from the other teams, the other clans, limiting their members. And free kills means more supplies, maybe a chance to upgrade some gear as well.
He was a fairly high-level character as well with his range cape on there, at least 99 ranged. And the gear that he was wearing, again, that's probably going to go to one of their lesser geared members that they're with at the moment.
Is that an Amulet of the Damned?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure level 120 combat has an amulet. That's really interesting too. We also have another chest going to appear up here, as you can see from the red light beaming down. Maybe that's why they've chosen this position. The higher ground we said before, so you can attack opponents that are lower level than you, but they can't actually potentially see you and get good hits on you. And talking about that AoE damage as well, in multi, it makes such a huge advantage. Having a few seconds when you engage in combat before your opponent realizes and is able to react can just be the difference between, complete destruction.
Absolutely. These guys are just waiting for the moment where they're just all forced into the same area and forced to fight. Quickly, I'm just looking at the heat map. We saw that team over at Spider Hill. There's a team to the west of them over near Rune Rocks. There's a team to the east of them back over near the single strip. Another team on the southern side of single strip. While these guys, they're locking down the single area of the Faldor Square, just waiting.
It looks like the most action is actually going to happen up in the wilderness, up at Anakal, because Falador looks a little bit dead. Much more clans, or bigger forces rather, much more solo players coming to the Falador area, I believe.
So in terms of their positioning at the moment, we can see there's quite clearly a group here clumped within the trees. There's another one over by the wall, and I believe earlier with the glimpse of the heat map, there's one just towards the more towards the east. What's the importance of where they're actually standing? Why are they hiding within the trees as opposed to being out in the open?
Because it's a single combat area. So just like Ian was saying, you could single the multiplayer. So you could, like you're seeing now, if this guy's in single area, like he could shoot into the multi-area and do damage to multiple people. But if they were to fire back, they'd only hit one person inside that single combat area. So you could maximize your output damage while minimizing your damage take.
And here again, we can talk about the huge CCs, the alliances that form, and you just don't see the same collaboration of efforts like you do with other clans that are official, that have been working together for many years now. You see people bolting each other, attacking each other. No one knows what's really going on. Are they trying to dwindle down players? Is it another team within trying to cause havoc and make them just fall apart from the inside out? I don't know.
Also seems like some of them had their auto-retaliate on, which is a mistake you don't want to make it in these multi-combat areas. I mean, just think, like, if you brew down and you have auto-retaliate on, your auto-cast goes away if you have that set, then you wind up going in for a melee and you get caught out of position, wind up being a free death. Looks like we have a lone warrior here. He's got some solid gear as well. Ancient staff looks like he's got some good tank top and bottoms as well. We're starting to see the fog start setting towards the deep wilderness. Players and teams start there making their way over towards the final area.
And as you can see, this last final area up at Anakal, like we said before, lots of clans going to engage in combat. That single area in the middle as well, there's a huge castle that basically surrounds, is right in the center. And that means that clans will separate in the corners. And if they go through the middle, that could be a massive barrage climb. And two clans about to meet right now. The upper ground is given to the homeboys, and now they're going to be able to get to cover a few barrages. They're going to engage, or they're going to try and keep out of combat for as long as they can before they get sniped from the east. There's another clan coming over any second now as well.
Depends on what two teams they are. They might have some sort of an alliance, but they definitely see each other. They know each other is there. But keep in mind, the #1 goal for a lot of these clans is straightforward: kill Rot. Make sure Rot is out of the game, limit their chances at winning, and then fight for the scraps after that.
We have another supply drop that's going to be coming in this location, this exact location, in fact, in the next 1 minute, 15 seconds. And it's going to be really interesting if the other clan finds that it's actually there. Are they going to contend for it? It doesn't look like it. It looks like that for them, it's just not worth it. They're going to be hightailing out of there, probably because they saw the group at the bottom of the hill had far superior numbers. And when you've only got one life in this moment, you don't want to take any chances.
Absolutely. Big fish versus small fish comes down to that.
And less than a minute left now until the chest drop drops again. And yeah, like we said before, just even if they were in an alliance, imagine if they both went for the chest at the same time, then one guy accidentally misclicks, throws a barrage, and after chaos follows, they'll start BSing each other. That'd be pretty impactful.
We had a tweet come in from Adam Carlisle 20 who says, "Let's go Torvesta." Well, we haven't had any confirmation that he's died to entering through a door or a building or an object as of yet, which is typically how he takes himself out.
We just saw Avengers coming in too, so not only do people have Barrage, some actually have Lunar Spellbook, which will be quite useful for the final area, the 1 versus 1. We have 2 chest drops about to happen in almost 15 seconds now, and I don't know who's going to take it, really.
I believe that these ones just so happen to also include the Infernal Cape and Amulet of Fury, so we should see at least one player with the Infernal Cape on in a few moments.
Those are some serious upgrades, especially when we talk about that final 1v1 area. Somebody with a full Varrock setup, that Infernal Cape just increasing, maximizing that melee damage output.
And looks like the clans are going to go for it. The looks of things, are they in alliance? They're not in alliance, and they're just trying to fend it off. The southern one, Valador, he got the Infernal Cape running away with it. That's 2 extra max hits of having no Infernal Cape.
And he's only level 88. He's going to die.
He's going to die, and whoever kills him is going to pick it up as well, which take advantage of the final.
Infernal Cape right there, 555 Mike V2, level 1, 2, 4. If that person gets through to the finals now at that combat level, wearing full Barrows gear, as well as having a DFS, Infernal Cape, they are not messing about.
Well, it's all about risk versus reward as well. Having that Infernal Cape on your back puts you up as a target because other players know that if they take him down, they can then pick it up and take it through, which gives them a substantial chance of getting some good specs and winning the whole tournament altogether.
Everybody wants that pretty cape, right? Can't get one in the main server. Maybe you could find one in Deadman mode, as we're starting to see the fog intensify, which is slowly push players. You see
and this is lit by the looks of things.
Lit might converge on this clan right here, starting to spread out, make sure to minimize their gaps, and it looks like they're hightailing it. Both these clans making their way over towards the Anakarl area, and I can see on the heat map that there's another clan waiting in single area, potentially waiting to flank on in on that eastern side of Anakarl, where it's just like a triangle of death just waiting to get set up by 3 teams.
Absolutely, and here it's going to really, everything's just going to go such high adrenaline, it's going to really speed up the action, and everyone's going to fly together and just, start throwing chins, starting barrage over. It's going to be very chaotic. But for the meantime, Lit again, just trying to stay out of combat, trying not to get caught in clumps, trying to last as long as they can, because they know if they can take down Rot, they have a huge chance of winning the 1 versus 1 area. Rot, not known for their 1 versus 1 abilities, usually a multi-clan. But if you check out the heat map once again, we can actually check out exactly where these clans are. So to the actual area next to Anakarl itself, we have one to the west, not quite in the center right yet. There's one to the southwest as well. They're probably in alliance together. They've been avoiding each other, not engaging in combat. And then again to the west behind them, it could be flanking from behind, and to the southeast too. So as I said before, everyone's going to fly at the same point. The fog itself is very strong. If you don't evade the fog, you will die in almost 1 hit, as we saw earlier. So it's crucial that the planning and the strategizing all comes together, and people move in one big unit.
So that's what's going down over at our most northern final area, where you're starting to see some thinning of the fat, so to say. Some of these, was that Fire Wave or Fire Surge?
Oh, it was Fire Surge even.
Yeah, those Wraith runes could come a little bit in handy. And, speaking of that normal spellbook, I see a lot of players just, maintaining their mage level around 94. I wouldn't be surprised if somebody like Rod or something have at least one person running around with Zami Flames and lower the magic level of opposing players. So they can't cast Barrage. It's something that, you don't really catch on to it real quick. And if you want to restore your magic level back up, well, then you're just wasting crucial restores.
The few that you have left.
Yeah, exactly. That's the most important part in that sense. Is that
plus you could auto-cast it with the Staff of Dead if you want to put in one of those members.
And we know that
Tome of Fire, maybe in a Amulet, you're actually outputting some serious damage.
Yeah, and Rot being the ones that were locking down Zami in particular, this is probably one of their tactics. It would be interesting to hear if that was something that they were planning on doing or if it's just a coincidence. But we're in an area at the moment, there's no bank near. They don't have any opportunity to bank until they get to the 1v1 phase. And even then, they're not allowed to take food. It's just for gear and supplies in terms of their equipment. So if you are having your magic level reduced, you're going to have to rely on a super restore potion to increase your stats. And when people are using Saradomin brews to heal, which are going to be reducing their stats already, it's very likely that their super restore supplies are going to be depleting very quickly.
Is that Mika with the Infernal Cape there? Potentially? Not too sure. Level 124 combat, that's very, very strong. He's got some Barrows gear as well. And as I was saying again, the disparity between certain members in the clans. You've got a few people with red D-hide chaps, just Mystics basic gear, others with Arims and full Barrows setups. Again, feeding the stronger players that you know are going to make it through to 1 versus 1, using the lower levels as, I guess, cannon fodder. Getting to go in first, tank a bunch of the hits. And Moni here as well, we see. This looks to be lit by the looks of things. And Curtis, too, trying to get involved in the action. He's been playing so much this past week, and he's going to make the most of it right now, get into combat. combat and get as many kills as he possibly can.
Yeah, it's MMORPG on your screen. And right now, since they're just still hugging that single area, if you free someone out in multi, it's almost a free kill for your team. Very tough to escape that scenario. And just like we were pointing out before, these people with the lower tier gear that you see, you know, the low tier dehides, like the room hell, room kites, these are just the meat shields, right? Those are the guys that you expect to see in the front lines, absorbing damage, just trying to tank out.
Oh, is that
and
a heavy
pave the way for
ballista
people
too?
to make it. Yeah, that's a heavy ballista right there. Serious
really
range damage output.
We can see from here, it looks like there must be some stragglers that are joining into the clump of lit because there's a lot of damage splats going on. I've seen a few of their members that have been throwing out chins and hitting barrages. The problem is there's probably got a lot of their teammates in there that are going to be self-damaging. That's something that they definitely want to avoid. But what would you do in this situation where there are stragglers that are running in that you need to know, you need to take them out, but everyone's focusing on using AoE damage?
This is when the clans really come into fruition. And oh, look at that movement. In one hit, everyone moving together, falling in a big force, walking into the west-hand side. Are they going to take that middle area, or are they going to be just changing locations? Looks like a lot of the stragglers behind, as I said before, probably get caught behind and maybe finished up by a couple of the other clans too.
Sure, I mean, for a group size this big, their coordination seems to be pretty on point at the moment. Props to whoever is out there calling out the comms, and if they're all together, they're probably in split CCs as well. So really, really hats off to them in this situation.
And here we can see on the heat map as well, clans slowly but surely starting to group together over towards Anakarl, over towards the Falador statue as well. With 547 players remaining, the action is now about to unfold. Here in the multi-area, it's all going to kick off. Clumps are inevitably going to form. Who's going to be able to sustain the damage? Who's going to be able to capitalize on their positional opportunities? We're about to find out right now.
Lit getting involved straight away, taking the northeastern quadrant, and here from the southwest, I believe, as well, as a clan in the trees just waiting. So are they going to engage, or are they going to take out the solo players first? The thing is, if you go in too quickly, and the chins are flying, the AoE damage is coming in. Look at all those damage splats. People are going to fall left and right, and it's going to be quick, I tell you that. The chaos is absolutely ensuing right now.
You see Lit splitting in two groups, one group to the south, one to the north. A big clump forming on the northwestern side, while you see the clan that was hugging Seagull, they're starting to wrap around to the southwest, maybe trying to gain position north of the Falador gate. But other than that, you don't want to get frozen here, just trying to avoid damage. Now is so important. Strap on that P-neck, don't get caught out of position, and tank.
And again, trying to move in one unit. Look at Lit go. They are doing such great coordination right now. And I like a vice movement going around in a big circle. And they need to be not quite out of position here. Any stragglers that get caught out, they can be sniped off like a second. And here's where the calling comes into fruition. The people that are really, really good at the whole getting people involved and trying to call out the names in particular, that's where the clans are going to succeed.
Sure. As I glance over towards the heat map, everything's just converged into one big blob. Now, over here at the Anakarl area, it's important to recognize that if you're holding the eastern side, you have to have a couple people having presence over towards the middle. Since that's the most open doorway, you could, if the opposing team gets a couple mages, a couple rangers in there, you could just catch freezes, catch people out of position, and just add extra damage from multiple angles.
And here's another thing about the whole clumps and everyone being stuck together. If you're not too far spaced out, then those chins are going to do so much more damage on your forces. And by one person being caught out of position, then everybody gets hit by it.
And we can see damage just flying out everywhere. People dropping like flies straight the way down to 478 players remaining. As soon as that gets updated, I'm pretty sure we've probably lost way more than that at the moment as well. Towards the north, we saw very similar situations to what we did in Falador, where the Vice technique of just going around and just making sure that you attack them from all sides. Coordinated attacks are really what is pushing through at the moment.
I'm also seeing a few blood barrages too to be able to heal your HP a little bit more. So you're not using those supplies that you've got, as they are limited to your inventory. You can't bank at this point in time. And the middle here in Anakarl, actually, quite interestingly, people are actually standing inside the middle, which is actually quite dangerous because if you go through the little entrances in the outside parts, there's only a 1-by-1 square you can get in and out of. If you get caught there and then other people stand on top of you, that is a clump, and they'll take so much more damage if they're clumped together like that.
You're already starting to see them form on the northwest as well as the southwestern side of Anakarl. Big clumps being formed, and just like you were saying, you cast one barrage, and if you're a mage, it's straight blood barrage after that, just trying to heal. Keep your HP as full as possible. And you also have to keep in mind, always glance over towards the top right-hand side of your screen. In one tick, you could go from 99 HP down to 0, so you got to make sure you're aware of what's going on around your environment.
It looks like the numbers are really helping Lit out right now. The Southwestern, look how many more they have than the other teams. I see MMORPG in there as well, getting involved. All the chins flying, and they are being so coordinated right now. They're taking a bit of damage, but look at the amount of damage they're dealing. Once you're having to spam food and eat constantly, plus you're frozen in place, you're just panicking, you can't get involved, you can't do that DPS that you have to do to help your clan out and to come back from this. It looks like an absolute, I don't know, just they're tearing through everyone Lit right now.
And just to reiterate, once we get down to 64 players in each area, we'll be teleported to the 1v1 area. And it's also important that you see a lot of quick movements from every clan involved in these final areas. You have to react to what your callers are saying and trust in the calls. If you lapse in your attention for just one moment, you get caught out of position, like you see players on the outskirts of these clumps. They're getting caught out and they're getting dropped like flies.
I also saw Skill Specs up in Anakarl. Actually, he is still alive, trying to get through to the 1 versus 1 area.
I think all of our streamers are still alive.
They are actually all alive. Yeah, they are. They're doing fantastically well. We only see a few down here, though. And looks like two big forces. Could this be Rot versus Lit or the Cold Alliance?
Possibly we see some Lit members, MMORPG, that's Curtis over towards the southwest. See Mashed Potato over towards the eastern side, but still massive clumps still formed by both teams, as now we're starting to see one team pushing towards the center of Anarcharl. Now they're going to back out towards that 1-by-1 spread towards the northwest. You don't want to get caught in there. Like I was saying, it's a wider gap over towards the eastern side, so not only can you barrage out of it, you can also barrage into it. They recognize the danger there, and they got out of it.
And I was talking earlier about the cannon fodder mechanic, you know, a lot of noob levels going in first.
See them telegrabbing loot on the ground?
Yeah, telegrabbing loot as well on the normal spell, but very interesting. A lot of the people in the high-end gear you see in the bottom left corner right now, in their Torrags and the Barrows gear in general. And look at that movement, all moving as one big force together. The comms, they must be talking between each other right now. The calling must be second to none.
And it's such a high-intensity moment. You know, these callers are getting sewed into it, and the energy that you bring to these fights are just going to transfer over to your members, and they're going to be a bit more inspired. Right now, it's like a 30-man clump over towards the southeast. You see lots of multi-spells being thrown, lots of chins, barrages just ringing out. As right now, you see the majority of tank rangers remaining. Bonnie's still alive over towards the southeast, but he might get isolated. There's the Hasta.
He's getting speared as well.
The G-Maul as well coming in, but he's tanking it. He's staying alive for the time being, but he's clearly getting focused. As you can see, Monty, he's about to drop the D-Spear again to solidify the kill. Sayonara, Monty, your tournament life is over.
And looks like the spear mechanic, something used by Rock quite a bit, actually. Could that be a snipe from them?
Like I was saying, you know, even though the D-Spear spec is crucial in these multi-fights, if you go a little bit too far outside the clump, you saw it happen there. You get isolated from the fight, you get picked off, and it's another free kill
but
to the opposing
again,
team.
they're trying to focus on the guys in the really good gear. Look at the guy south at the moment. He just
taking them straight out.
Literally.
Yeah, identifying them, taking them out. I think that was a real revenge kill for Monty at that point. I do believe you're probably right that they had some person within that clump somehow that had integrated themselves within and saw the opportunity and seized it as they could.
For the 1-versus-1 finals, obviously, unless you can get this far, that's one thing, getting to the final round, but actually winning the whole tournament, you need to have competent 1v1ers, and eliminating the competition increases your chances of getting that far. But question is here, this is a huge force right now. I believe it's Lit still. And if Lit does have several hundred players here, what happens when there are over 64 left? Will they start BSing each other? Will the different alliances just, you know, start to break up and be like, well, I want to go through, you can't go through, I want to go through? Because only 64 people can go through in this final.
Well, I mean, with less than 400 players remaining now, we're going to get to that point very soon. I do believe that what a lot of the clans have is they have arrangements between themselves. They understand that, you know, if they're going to have to win, they're going to have to take their strongest players through. So what are they going to do? All right. We're going to designate and we're going to highlight who it is that we want to take through, and the rest of you guys, you're going to have to just suicide. And that's pretty much what you're going to probably see towards the end of time when there's more fog coming in and they take damage over time. And if they don't do that, they're all going to fall.
And look at all these clumps right now. The DFS guy tanking into the middle, but wow, that force the northeastern corner is absolutely tremendous. And I just saw like 20 people die, I'm pretty sure. If we want to check out the heat map as well on 2 areas, we can actually see exactly how many people are left and compare the 2 areas indeed.
Yep, right now it's just one big blob over towards Anarcharl. You also see to the southwest a big blob towards the Falador statue as well. So still lots of players remaining, but we're getting down to those final few moments. Very exciting to see how the action is still unfolding. Now you see it on your screens there. Anarcharl as well as the Falador statue.
And I would say there's more people probably at the Falador statue. As I said before, Lit seems to have all amalgamated there, and they have a huge, huge force.
I think they may have actually split into 2 groups, because we see Skill Specs is over near Anarcharl. We see MMORPG is over near the Falador statue, as well as, I want to say, another Lit member was there as well. I saw a couple of familiar names. Still lots of clumps being formed. That's 368 players remaining. We're slowly but surely getting to its final few.
There's definitely a lot more action in this one at the moment than there have been in the previous tournaments. I think we've seen smaller teams, really. I think it's because the clans have not wanted to ally with each other. Obviously, they have rivalries. People don't want to go with their enemies. And a lot of these clans that are grouped together, they probably don't like each other at all. But unfortunately, in these scenarios, you just have to put your differences aside and say, this is better for us if we have a chance to win.
So I think right now, actually, Lit's force down here is starting to dwindle, but they are going hard. Look at all this damage that's being done by them and all the loot piles on the floor. It's a looter's paradise right now. And whatever clan that was, they've just been cleared up completely. Looks like Curtis has got his set way through. Maybe he'll go to the 1-versus-1 stage as he wished to do so. And yeah, they're just doing so well, this southeastern corner. If you're going to look to the northwestern, I believe there are a few people in Aaron's up there too. By the looks of things, yeah, that could be Rot then. This could be the last couple clans left. They have a lot of numbers still, surprisingly, and they're going in for it. They're saying, well, we're outnumbered right now. We have to make a move. We have to be that aggressive person because we can't keep losing members like this. And they are doing a really fantastic job of doing it.
Clearly, you could see Lit had the more members over towards the southeast. If they want to rush over towards southwest, I think they could easily clear the the remaining group members there. And I know it's very tempting to do just looking at all these loot piles, but you have to be careful. You know, something like the item overlay, seeing where your important potions are, trying to get 4 of those. Yeah, you still seeing people use telegraph to try to get that high important loot, maybe spread it out across the clan just to sustain, give yourself the best chance going to the final 1v1 area.
Not only that, but the southwestern corner, no one is attacking each other. The northeastern corner, the southeastern corner, they're actually fighting amongst themselves. Maybe that is some BSing going on, some backstabbing. Maybe Rot have spies from within trying to tear them apart, as I said earlier.
We can see a huge group here up in Anakal that has just been absolutely wiped out. There must have been at least 5, 6, maybe even 10 members plus that have been taken out in that small group there. And you can really see it now come together as the two teams, the bigger teams in this group anyway, are obviously completely split either side. They're just taking out all of the stragglers at the moment.
I'm surprised Skillspecs is still alive, man. We thought he was going to be the first one to die, but he's still alive and kicking, has a chance to find that final area, and we're starting to see some high-tier gear on the ground here. You saw
Heavy Ballista, I think, as well.
Yeah, Heavy Ballista on the ground. There's that southwestern group now getting caught out. Lit. They're just going to eat this one. Look at all the damage output there. There's no tanking that.
No, I think Rot's probably lost their Falador unit, but they still have a chance at Anakal to go through. And Ron a Goblin now. Jay having to tank it. He's been sniped out. He's low HP. He's getting hit zeros, but he somehow managed to get away. No way. He was down to like 10 HP or something. And looks like he's completely fine. He's got plenty of brews left, plenty of supplies as his inventory. And he's using I think Emerald Bolts, I think, to try and poison the opponents. So even though he might have the best stats, yeah, it is annoying. Yeah, because no one brings anti-poison.
Yeah, no one's going to be
area,
right. So.
And it ticks away. You know, it does a decent amount of damage over time. Back down to the Falador area right now. Curtis again, still alive, still looking incredibly strong, walking around. Look at those supplies. He has everything he needs for the final area. Even picks up an extra Arim's robe top by the looks of things as well.
Yeah, and if you're lit in this situation, you know that you have the numbers to absolutely dominate the Falador statue area. You're just going through your CC right now and trying to pick apart names that you don't see and getting rid of your members that are in the low tier gear. You know your high priority targets. You know the good Brits that you have in your clan. You want them to progress forward.
Yep, almost 300 players left in the northeast corner again. People are just trying to tank it as best they can, but it's a game of cat and mouse right now. Rot, or whoever this clan are, having to keep defending, and they just don't have the numbers. And they're just being absolutely demolished right now, being frozen in place. They can't even move, being split up constantly, and Lit taking easy work of this right now.
It's quite clear that they really have got the numbers here in this scenario. Before we were looking at the action has dwindled down completely for them now as they've completely cleared up all of the other teams. I wonder what they are going to do. Who are they going to suicide off?
We'll see as it gets down to that moment, but you can clearly see every movement that they make, like they're leaving members behind it, and Lit is just eating them up player by player. They're doing a great job over here at the statue.
And look at Curtis, cool, calm, and collected. He knows he's got this in the bag to get into the 1v1 final at this point. He has a full inventory of supplies. He could very well go the furthest out of all the streamers right now. As you can see, his inventory right now, he's maybe being focused a little bit. Maybe they want to take him out because they realize he's a massive threat. But he's using Blood Barrage, and that is, I believe, how he managed to keep his HP so high and use such little supplies. Really interesting tactic.
Yep, possibly. Just take a look at his inventory. He could maybe decant those potions, consolidate your inventory a little bit, but also since you know that you're most likely going to win that final area, you're also looking at the ground, seeing what gear you could upgrade if you could stack up maybe more runes, more potions, bolts, anything to aid you as you progress forward towards that final area. And things are starting to die down here over at the Anakarl area as well. With 288 players remaining, keep in mind, once we hit that 128 mark, 64 at each area, the 1v1 stage will begin.
Skillspecs again, very proud to have gotten this far. I believe he was going to go on a rampage to try and get as many kills as he wanted to, but then he decided, well, why not go over Lit? Why not try and fight Robert in the final and get his revenge? And his inventory, again, not looking too bad. Are they normal restores, though?
Speaking of Robert, this would be the perfect time for Skillspecs to go for a cheeky Gmaul spec, maybe try to take him out. This is the moment to do so, but they're either regular stores or Sanfew potions are obviously crucial to take here, just in case you do get poisoned. You have the ability to super restore up, as well as cure the poison.
And again, right now in the center, the clan's moving in and just trying to kill off all the stragglers. We have 273 players remaining, or less. And we're getting there right down to the last little bit right now. Curtis, again, still looking really, really strong as well.
Yeah, just looking around, seeing what kind of loot he could get. I'm sure they know that they have this Falador area secured. They're just trying to call out specific single pals, people just to isolate, thin the numbers, and see what good players you still have left remaining. Most of the action still going down here over at Anakarl, over towards the northeastern side. Big clumps being formed out to the north. Lots of damage could be output by either team here.
Looks like Lit is getting caught in big clumps right now from the opposing clan to the northwestern side. They have way less players, but look how many members in Lit are actually going to fall right now, taking too much damage at the moment and just getting clumped. And I believe a lot of the Lit members are lower levels, so even though they have the numbers, they're just not really very useful in a lot of ways since they have such low stats. They just stand there, absorb damage, but at the same time, that's absorbing damage that the other higher level accounts and the higher level players aren't going to take.
Low stats, sure, but this is some of the best range and magic experience you could find in the game, especially when it comes down to Deadman with those accelerated XP rates. And once again, we're just counting down until we get to those final members. 252 now remaining. Still action going down here at the Falador statue. Great to see our streamer still alive and kicking as you see members from the opposing team just getting isolated over towards the northeast. Easy single pile to be called, and that's going to be some nice gear to pick up, maybe feed to somebody who has lower tier items.
Absolutely, the Barrows gear, as I said before, being some of the best in slot in this tournament and incredibly difficult to attain. Not only that, but the Carol's Top, one of the most hardest to obtain items in the whole game because it gives such incredible mage defense bonus compared to the Black D'hide body. Right now, again, just people trying to call out single piles, and looks like a lot of the clan action's kind of over with now. It looks like Lit has taken the Falador area.
At least for the time being. We could speak about some of the other gear that we see. Love to see the Crystal Shield. It's a great shield that you get.
Oh, yeah.
Free to get as well, just finish the quests. And it's something that I think Manked Up Mage actually has in his repertoire when it comes down to that Varrock setup. Just a one shield switch, since the flail is a two-handed weapon, just for some extra defensive bonuses in between attacks.
Yep, and as I said before, this server was completely fresh a week ago. These players have jumped to the game as level 3s from Tutorial Island, fresh out the start, and they have managed to grind up their accounts from just sweating out no life the whole week, and that's where they're here right now. A few more barrages coming in, and we see a DFS in the middle too, so hard to obtain, but yet he's using the Blood Barrage as well, trying to get as much HP as he can, getting those clumps in, but looks like Lit, in the corner, being pushed into one side, but they're still defending really well and taking down several players that are trying to aggress them, and they're looking really, really strong right now in both areas.
They're doing an absolutely fantastic job of surviving, considering the fact that they've been hounded down on for the last minute or so, non-stop. All of them seem to be getting up to fairly high HP, not falling below. They're probably using Blood Barrage. You can see those coming out into the corners to their advantage, trying to not use their supplies wherever they can. Jay, in fact, skill specs, Runner Goblin, seems to be running around, not taking much damage. His health bar's not showing, so they're not focusing him at the moment. Hopefully, you can make it through.
But at the same time, he's not really engaging in combat either. He's just standing around looking for supplies, trying to just evade combat, trying to make it as far as he possibly can. But as a team, as a squad, you've got to help each other. There is the power in the numbers, and if people aren't engaging, numbers mean nothing.
Yeah, and it's a similar story here at Anakarl than it is over near the Falador statue. It seems like Lit have control of this final area, so they're just looking to consolidate their numbers. They know that the other teams remaining don't have enough DPS output to, even if they do wind up getting caught in a clump, to clear the members that are actually caught out there. So they could just consolidate, group up, and then isolate players from there. Recognize, hey, this guy's not with us, let's take him out. And now's the point in time where you could actually start sacrificing, your lower tier members. Get rid of those meat shields and make sure that your hybrids make it on through.
And now again, standing right next to the center of the map. Interesting strategy here, just trying to, again, call out single piles, take up those levels that, oh, look at that guy, level 102 combat and full Barrows gear. That'd be a nice pickup for their clan. MMORPG still standing strong, walking around the middle right now, just trying to avoid combat. And the people on the outskirts just getting picked off one by one. Again, is there any BSing going in right now? We're not too sure. But I imagine a lot of clans within the clans, in the alliance of Cold, like I said before, CD, DL, Tartar members potentially as well, could be trying to take out the opposition. And because it's only so many people left and everyone's clumped together like that, it's quite difficult to actually see. And as you can see now, the call is saying, go southwest, go southwest. We are getting hit from inside. Let's try and take the other people out who are trying to BS us. And as you can see right now, they've clumped. And the people that were too late, well, if you're too late, you didn't listen to the comms properly, I'm afraid you get caught up in that pile.
Yeah, even if they're part of the same team, if you're not listening to the calls, you might as well thin the fat from there. 211 players now remaining, inching ever so closer to that 128-player threshold. Still action going down over near Anakarl. It seems like they're just indecisive. Who do we actually want to kill? And you can see the quick movements really help with separating the solo players trying to blend on in to the main group.
And again here, we see the two areas Lit still outnumbering whichever force that is in the southeastern side.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of the last few numbers here, I believe that the clans, especially Lit, the Cold Alliance, they came together with an agreement that as soon as they get to the finals, that's it, every man for themselves. But up until that point, they are together as a team. But it's quite clear that they're going to have to go against that treaty, that truce that they had between one another. And I wouldn't want to be the guy to have to make that call. I wouldn't want to be in that position.
I would love to be that guy, because I'm definitely not calling myself. I'm making it on through, buddy. You're not. But we can see in these loot piles that there are just random pieces of barrels all over the floor. I bet somebody could walk on through and probably find like a full Varrock set if they really try hard enough. I saw a flail there. I saw pieces of Darroks as well. We'll see what these guys decide to pick up. Maybe they have something stored in their bank, because once we do enter the 1v1 stages, they are given a grace period to swap gear.
Again, from the inside right now, I'm not too sure who's aggressing the Runner Goblin skill specs in his squad, but Lit looks to have a lot of frees in the northwestern corner, but I can't exactly see who's attacking them. So maybe Rot or another infiltration force has gone inside their clan chat and torn them out from the inside out.
Yeah, like we were saying, Rot know that these guys are rocking the purple skin. They could easily go to the people in Varrock and change, their shirt, go to the makeover mage and change your skin color as well, just to try to blend in. And since Lit, it's such a big alliance, it's so easy for Rot to have people infiltrate and get live intel leaks and know exactly what's going on. But Lit, like we were saying over towards the Falador statue area, they're doing the same thing here at Anakarl. Quick movements to each corner, seeing who gets left behind, and just picking off the people who either A, aren't listening, or 2, are just trying to blend in with the main group, trying to stay alive and see if they could sustain.
But again, as I said before, they have a lot of people left, but a lot of them just aren't engaging in combat, as I said before. And you need those numbers. You need everyone to be participating. Obviously, you can't take people down. 118 combat to go there, a whole week of no lifing, all to die like that, just before the last 64 players. That must be such an awful feeling, mustn't it?
Poor fella, yeah, in that scenario. Less than 200 players left now, really getting down into it.
Yeah, we see MMORPG still alive. I think all of our streamers are still alive, which might be a first, going into the final 1v1 area.
We're seeing again a lot of really high-profile players dying right there. Ali TB, I believe he's one of the high-level council members of one of the clans, and again, just no one really participating. Looks like a lot of BSing going on. A lot of alliances now starting to go their own ways and saying, you know what, well, someone's got to die, and it's not going to be me right now, is it?
Absolutely not. As we could see, like we've been saying for the past couple moments, thinning the fat. Slowly but surely, we're dwindling down. Got like 70 roughly more people to kill before we enter that final 1v1 area. And just looking at the combat levels, looking at gear, I think obviously if you see, even though there's an alliance in play, if you see a high combat level member of another team, you're going to want to take him out of the game. Just give yourself, your clan, a better opportunity to win when it comes down to these final few fights.
We have a tweet coming from Bezel TV saying, looking forward to seeing who wins, #Deadman Summer. Who's your money on right now, guys, based on what we've seen so far?
Obviously Lit, but it comes down to what specific member, right?
Exactly.
It would be nice to see how far MMORPG can make it. We saw him in the highlight reel leading up to this. He had a very close fight in round 1 against Graphist. Last time around came down to that final attacking tick. Unfortunately, just didn't go his way. We see Skill Spec still alive. Some people with the names that we have highlighted on the Friend Finder. So still some heavy hitters remaining here. Of course, we still want to see what kind of gear they're going to bring into the 1v1. I think for the majority, everybody leaning towards that full Varrock setup to take it.
Yeah, I think we're most definitely going to see a victory by numbers here. But as we mentioned before, as soon as they enter that 1v1 area, the alliance is over. Yeah, Lit may have got them to there, but at that point, you're on your own. And if one of these guys on the stage are still alive at the point, which...
You're killing the guy with the Infernal Cape.
Is that Mika? I'm pretty sure it is Mika, actually.
I think it was the 555 chap in his name.
And again, I've seen a lot of BSing going on. It's just some guy with a D-med just throwing chombers wherever he can.
If I am
it's Mike, sorry, V2.
I am not wearing my Infernal Cape. I'm putting away my DFS. I do not want to stick out and get BS by my other team. I want to carry those items into the final area. And it looks like he will be able to at least tank it out and maybe hide away in the main group. But you still have somebody following him just bolting. Because if you're on the opposing team, like those are some very juicy items that you want to get in your control.
Oh, absolutely. Make a huge advantage to you in the finals. No matter how good a Brit you are, if you are outmatched in gear and you're both semi-decent, then that gear just makes, it's all the difference. And you can't really do much about it, to be honest. We talked earlier about the Varrock strategy. We have a lot of tri-breeding going on as well right now. The mage and the range, as well as a lot of people in melee, like I said before. The Infernal Cape making a few extra max hits. McBridding going down, level 90 combat.
Bye-bye.
Farewell, my friend. 183 people left now, and 64 versus 64 will be the final area. So just a few more players now to go out.
I mean, you saw his final gear, right? He had a Rune Helm, Rune Kite, Black Behind Body. Like, that's not somebody that you need. There's still a level 69. How's a level 69 still alive here? Like, yeah, that's easy pickings. Like, that's one final player to get past. And once again, we have around 3 minutes remaining until the fog really starts to kick in, and that AOD damage is going to start hitting everybody. 128 players is the key mark we need to get to with 183.
So here again, the strategy we were talking about before about the higher level staying in the background, trying to waste supplies. We saw Curtis with so many brews left right now. And when that fog starts to hit and do a lot of damage, I do believe that those players are going to be the ones that go through and are able to, sustain it and eat through it.
Yep. Still lots of loot piles on the ground. I think that just might be what these guys are waiting for. Once that fog sits in, they're just like, I feel bad. I don't really want to team kill BS any more members. Let's just leave it up to the fog. Kind of like Thanos at the snap of a finger. Let fate choose who will be the one to fall.
Mr. Deadman, I'm not feeling so well.
At the same time, though, that's just like potentially letting the win slip through your fingers. Because if you have more people and you know that you've got a better force, you've got stronger players in here, why not just go all out and have your best bet? Because if the fog does just take you down first, then all this is for nothing, pretty much, isn't it?
Completely. I mean, given by what we can see at the moment, I believe that Lit have pretty much determined that, there's no more intruders around in this area. They are designating people that they're going to be taken out because there's not much action happening within the clump. Whereas towards Anakarl, there seem to be quite defined 2 different groups. One of a huge amount larger, and I believe that was Lit's group, in towards, I believe from the angle that we were looking, would be the northeast corner, smaller group to the southwest. Interesting to see how that comes apart once they carry on killing each other. Probably less than 2 minutes now until the fog starts hitting. everyone is going to start taking ticking damage. It's going to be increasing over time. They really don't have much time now to decide who it is that they're going to let through to that final 1-2-8.
And again, just moving from the south to the north, trying to get the guys in the corners. Gov, I believe that it might be actually a ROT member right there, one of the few to be getting out there. But at the same time, even though Lit has won this battle, both at Faladorn, potentially Anakal too, it doesn't necessarily mean that other clans or other solo players haven't made it through. They could be in the midst, in the CCs, lurking, with a high chance to actually take it through right to the end.
And I mean, for all we know, it might even not even be Lit. We've seen in the past before where clans are pulling out these tactics of, you know, disguise, changing names, bringing team capes. It could be that the whole of ROT have actually put themselves as the
oh no!
The purple skin.
I see Mika now getting speared out and actually falling. Wow, I did not expect that at all. Looks like ROT might have got him right there. And obviously being 125 combat and being a huge threat in the 1 versus 1 area, he's shown before that he can go all the way. And we have only 1 minute left to the fog right now. And when that hits in, everybody here is going to start taking gratuitous amounts of damage. 151 players left. 128 is the final amount we need. Any second now, and yeah, absolute chaos is continuing to ensue.
Poor Timmy with the fire cape. He's going to get taken out toward the southeastern side. There are only, what, like 20 fire capes in the game?
Yeah,
well, now
so.
Significantly less remaining as we're closing in. 151 players currently remaining. Another Infernal Cape. Looks like it's going to fall here. That's 5-5. Mike, he's had that since the supply chest. Not only is that an Infernal Cape, it's good barrels gear, as well as the DFS now on the ground.
And again, you see the spears again, something quite iconic of ROT, which is why I keep referring to them as that clan that's trying to take out those high-profile players. But the Infernal Cape on the floor, and I believe someone actually might have snagged it. Well, they can bring it right through to the final.
They marked it with the flowers. You see at the mithril seats, they marked the grave spot with the flowers. That's definitely gear that you see skill spectrum around. He would love to have that DFS as well as the Infernal Cape.
Absolutely. And the fog is hitting any second now. And as you can see, damage splats are going to start taking by everyone. And just a matter of time before we'll start falling. Only got so many supplies left, and here we go. Here's the key right now. You need to do damage whilst eating at the same time. You need to make sure that other people are falling and not you. But that's so difficult to do. This is where the clan mechanics comes into case. People have got to really try as best they can to do DPS and survive.
Yeah, and this is where mages actually have a little bit of an upper hand because they could tick the brew and then cast the blood barrage after. You're starting to see some barrages being thrown left and right, just trying to heal. Just stay high over full HP and I'm seeing all the damage being thrown your way.
I'm seeing quite a few players actually dying to the fog this early on. They were obviously very low on supplies too.
Yes, I'm sure that, you know, as experienced PKs as yourselves, when you're in this moment, you're normally used to seeing the hit splats from your opponent and your opponent only, and that's what you're using to gauge when to eat. I imagine that at the moment it's a lot of panic. Sweaty palms, they're seeing the hits coming through, and they're not used to it, something that they don't normally experience in the normal game.
This is where the PKs that have the experience in being able to eat and do damage at the same time is really going to go far. But it looks like 130 players remaining right now, so any second now we're going to go through to the 1 versus 1 final area. And it looks like both clans have got several members actually going through, so anyone could take this tournament altogether. And here we go, 128 players left for the 1 versus 1 final.
Which is a huge round of applause for the fact that all of our streamers have made it through to the final 1-8. Incredible. So we've got a few minutes here now. There's going to be around about a 3-minute pause period. In this time, these guys are going to be able to access these nice little banks that are glowing. They're going to be able to change up their gear swap sets if they like. They're not going to be able to resupply. Whatever they had during that last moment before they got teleported is all they have for this first fight.
And I can see some really great 1v1 shaping up right now. We have You Never Learn versus MMORPG. You Never Learn being also, I think, a winner, actually. One of the very first tournaments. Yeah. And he's going to Curtis. That's a very difficult fight for Curtis to take. We have Sears over there as well, another high-profile player. And everyone here right now has Barrows gear. They have Arims. They have just max stats, pretty much. It's going to be very, very interesting indeed.
So you saw right next to Curtis, MMORPG was MMROPG. That's actually Manked Up Mage. You see him getting set up in his Varrock setup. Yeah, he intentionally changed his name to that to try to mess with us, but we're on top of it. We know what's going on.
Also, Graphis I see right now as well, another streamer. And again, lots of players from Lit I see making it through to this final area.
Just take a quick moment. Chris has just joined us back on the couch. Hey, Chris, how do you think of it so far?
It's been incredible, actually, and seeing all 4 players on stage make it to the 1v1s is so exciting.
Is that the first time it's ever happened?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think the most we've had is 2 or 1. No, we've had 2 because we had Manked and Manked and Curtis last time.
Yep.
Curtis fell short, unfortunately, because of his fight against Graphis. Manked made it a fair way. Yeah. This is crazy. All 4 of them have potential to win the entire tournament.
The chances that of 2,000 players that enter into the tournament to have 4 of them that just so happen to be on stage at the same time as well.
And they all have a lot of confidence in their 1v1 abilities. We were talking to them before entering that final multi-stage area, so they feel like they have the ability and the mechanics to make it on through. But unfortunately, at least 3 of them have to die, and we're about to see at least 3 of them do exactly that.
So it's been a busy last hour or so. I haven't been able to watch everything. I'd really love to see this replay package that we have. So let's go ahead and throw that on the screen now and keep people in the loop if they haven't been watching this past hour or so. So what's been happening?
Well, we started out quite slowly. A lot of the clans trying to keep their distances, not engage in combat too fast, as only 128 players can make it into this last final 1-versus-1 area. We saw supply chests dropping every few minutes, and a few of them going to a couple of random players, actually. We saw Infernal Capes, we saw Furies, we saw Verax, the best in slot gear, and I believe a lot of them actually were targeted, so maybe not the best strategy going for those supply drops and actually wearing them, as you may become yourself a target yourself.
One of them in particular, that one that we just saw previously, just so happens to be the one that the guy gave it legs and escaped, and they targeted the wrong person. We'll probably see a chest later on where someone went for it and then ended up dying to the fog. So you really have to be careful.
We're definitely going to see that clip in a second here. I absolutely loved that. I think a feature we're definitely going to need for the next time around is to see which player in specific obviously grabs the chest and what they
Well, here you have it. Here's the guy that looks like a a lit scout.
This was such a good play because he actually dodged his opponent who had nothing on him, low stats, and now he gets stopped in the fog right now and takes a one-hit 90-something, 97. There's the Cabo gone, and that warrior just gets away.
Of your entire life.
Oh my gosh!
If that happens, you don't hold back. You just let it all out.
Imagine grinding a week of your life, training up, questing, and then dying to a man with purple skin and a gold sword.
Probably at the moment, if it was me, I'd be like, yes, I'm going to get this guy. He's got no gear. It's an easy kill. I'm going to get whatever he got. Wonderful. I'm like, oh.
And there's the Infernal Cape.
Yeah, making a huge difference in the
level 80 something, I think.
Yeah, it was like level 80, 90 combat, so probably not going to be able to utilize that in the final to its fullest potential.
So this was the first group of players in the Falador area. There was another group just to the left, and as you can see here, they're both merging together. I still wasn't sure which of the two groups were lit. Lit seem to be divided all over the place. Yep. They're seemingly moving really well, but we're only really identifying them by these purple and pink T-shirts. So who is Lit in this situation?
It's tough for us to tell. You really look at the friend finders, right? So we know that the streamers that we have on stage, they're more than likely with Lit. So you look at where they're positioned on the map, and you can pretty much deduce from that the people around them as well are also with that. But it's a smart thing for Lit to do. They know that they have the numbers to spread across both final areas and just dominate with the just sheer numerical force.
Yeah, and not only that, but also, like I said before, there are a lot of clever clans that have actually, made their way into these big clans. These alliances, Cold, you have Lit, you have CD, you have DL, you have Cutthroat still, that could be somewhere in the midst. And a lot of solo players, too, that made their way into them. So, I mean, it's still up for anyone's grabs. Rotmire made it through, too, as we saw in the Anakal area. There's still a lot of people left, and actually in the Falador area, too. So, I mean, it's anyone's game still.
It is, and unfortunately you see Monty die in the bottom left-hand corner of the screen. They're getting speared and targeted by at least 10 people. He had a pretty good run, though. You got to respect it. It's difficult with all these masses of people targeting one player in specific, and one thing that you have to appreciate is somehow Manked and Robert both kept their names hidden. We were watching them, we were like, nobody actually knows who they are yet, and the casters haven't exposed them yet, which is great because they weren't stream sniped.
Well, I just exposed Manked as we entered the 1v1
That's okay,
area.
Though, but in the 1v1s, he doesn't need to hide.
All he
can hold his own.
now is use his skill, and off he goes.
Well, they're both going for a very similar strategy. Both Manked and Robert, I believe, do have full Verac. They both have Vengeance as well. Pretty much max stats going into this. Curtis has the Tribrid meta, and Jay has his Rune Crossbow. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. But yeah, Jay narrowly escaping fate several times. I'm really, really surprised and really, happy for him, actually, he's made it this far.
It just goes to show, it's not all about your skill, your stats. You have to still be a skilled player, and Jay is one of it's one of the most skilled PKs that we have out there, especially with his Carol's Darok's setups that he does running tournaments and other such like that. And it just goes to show when he's still in the 1v1s now.
I mean, I will say I'm a little disappointed in skill specs because he said he would attack Robert, and he did not attack Robert. I was waiting to see that big battle go down, and
but I mean,
we just weren't able to watch it.
Didn't it? Because he got into the final area now, and now they can battle it out, and it's going to be quite a feud indeed to watch.
Oh, we 100% should have rigged it. We should have made them go up against each other in the 1v1 first round.
Well, now they can spend the evening together, have a nice drink together after the tournament, and say, you know what, we're friends now.
I'm really excited to see who they're fighting, actually, because I'm sure you'll be able to identify the more distinguishable PKers in the 1v1 as they start to wipe the floor and just beat everybody. So let's see. Curtis, and we have Manked there. We'll have to find out in a minute. But, right, 1v1s. So what are we about to watch? We have how many rounds?
Well, it's going to go,
128 to 64, 64 to 32 to 16 to 8 to 4 to just 2, so 7.
Yeah, well done, well done.
That's how math works,
Math's not my forte, so we know. I just thank God for Rhythm being here.
And what we see in these times is, as I was saying, like one player will just wipe the floor with everybody. You'll see his first fight, he'll win with tons of food left.
Yep.
You'll immediately be able to notify, like, this guy's probably going to go on to win it. When you see players in the first round struggling, barely winning, you see that the pressure is getting to them. They start to panic. I played the beta myself just last week. I was on like a J-mod. It didn't matter to me if I lost. It was a beta, and I was still shaky. Like, it is really stressful.
Yeah, I mean, that was interesting to watch, especially. I know I've seen you PK before, seen a few of your videos, and, you know, I don't want to make your ego too large here, but you're a pretty good PKer. However, when you stepped into that tournament, I could clearly see that it was having an effect on you.
Yeah, and those were just like the newbies. Like, these guys are the real deal. These are the actual best PKers in all of Deadman.
When it comes down to PvP mechanics, I mean, like I said earlier, gear is a huge advantage too, but those players that know exactly what they're doing, if they can kind of take care of those players, take their gear off them, wield them in the tournament, give them such an exponential higher chance to actually go through. And as we'll see that, I believe that actually Manked took in Ring of Recoils Noted in case he actually kills someone with a Ring of Suffering. So you can put them inside the Ring of Suffering, and then he gets an even higher chance as well there.
So one of the things that I was waiting to until we get to this point here is there are obviously strong pieces of gear. One that I didn't talk about was the Ring of Suffering. Rot themselves were they had locked down the Demonic Gorillas area from Monkey Madness 2 entirely. I believe before that, one person managed to get a Zenite before they'd got there themselves.
Oh, okay.
We're looking at around about, from 12 o'clock, there were around about 3 Rings of Suffering in the game. There may be more now. There may have been Zenites that they're being held off until they made these rings. But really strong item that goes into this 1v1 stage because it has huge defenses. And talking about items, you talk about mechanics and these people having experience. What kind of things do we need to be looking out for? How are we going to distinguish between the good players and the average players?
I think when it comes down to hybriding, you want to look at how they're utilizing their switches, you know, in between attacks, you know, putting on that tank gear, try to mitigate the damage that's incoming your way, and then switching back quickly to your offensive gear to optimize your offensive stats. But speaking a bit more about Rot, you mentioned that they were locking down Demonic Gorillas as well as the God Wars Dungeon as well. I wonder how many people they actually have remaining because those, you know, high kind of value items, you know, those high impact items are going to start to transfer. Maybe they got lost in the big loot piles in the multi areas. So, you know, we said at least 3 Rings of Suffering, maybe less, maybe more. Yeah. We'll keep an eye on it.
Imagine being a player in Rot, one of the few trusted with something like a God Sword, and you've died. You have to relay that information to your team and say, I've just died somewhere in the southwest region of Anna Carl. One of you needs to get that God Sword and bring it into the 1v1.
At the same time, it might be in the bank, because they do get to bank before they go into the final area. So I believe a lot of those players would have left their ACBs or their Staff of the Deads in the bank just to make sure that other opposing clans don't manage to get those items and then have a really exponential chance again of making it through to the finals.
And it's a good point, the banking especially, that's a recently added feature. So if players want to go into the finale, or sorry, the fog areas, the 2 final areas with tank range gear, something a bit tankier, and then switch the offensive stuff, the hybrid stuff, the lower defense stuff like Arams, they can afford to do that.
And just to expand a little bit on the mechanics of PvP, so we have 3 different attack styles. We have Mage, Range, and Melee. Different ones. It's a combat triangle, so obviously Mage beats Melee, or it's meant to, and Range is meant to beat Magic, and Melee is meant to be Range, if that makes sense. So utilizing your overhead prayers as well, and the different attack styles, depending what your opponent is wearing. It's all about reading your opponent, like a chess game, again, I said earlier, trying to get in through it. But I think we're going to jump into the finals right now, aren't we?
Yeah, we are.
in my headset right now.
I know
Let's go.
We could chat about this for ages, but the fights are just underway right now. So let's have a look at how our 4 players on stage are doing. As it's the first time this has ever happened. This is a big moment. MMORPG, fighting You Never Learn, a previous Deadman winner. This is a crucial fight.
And you can see already coming out with those switches going straight from Mage into Range as soon as it's frozen. They're now going to be focusing on prayers, making sure that they're getting, you know, let's talk a little bit actually, well, we've got a second. Hopefully they won't just KO each other. But what are these icons for people that aren't too familiar with what's happening?
Okay, so in the top left-hand corners of both their inventories, that's going to be their gear switches. So you have a Mage switch as well as a tank switch for MMORPG. You see good Melee as well. He's got the Dragon Defender, Gmaul for Spec. He's got 10 brews as well as a couple of anglers to work with as well. And you see, You Never Learn, he's got noted recoils as well. So if he's able to find a Suffering as well, he'll be able to charge it up. Yeah. But he doesn't have a rune pouch, and that's something that's really going to limit his overall inventory. You see 4 spots taken up by all his runes compared to just 1 for MMORPG.
At the same time, though, look at his brew count compared to Curtis's. And right now, Curtis, DDing underneath him after every single hit. You never learn. I mean, just pray melee the whole time. I don't want to get hit by that extra DPS. And Curtis, his stats are just incredible right now. Although saying that, You Never Learn 108 combat. I think he's just in Mage and Range. He's got a 3-way switch, so makes the switching nice and easy for him, like Pures do, like I do, as I'm not very good at PKing. And he's literally holding his own, to be fair. I think Curtis right now has got to do something very special. Keep doing that DDing underneath. But now, You Never Learn on the back burner. Try and do the same to him.
And you see, you never learn his lower combat, substantially lower combat, but he has no melee. You can see he's also 98 hit points, so he's clearly got high range and high mage. So he's really he's got no KO opportunity.
But at the same time, it's the extra inventory space he gets is actually really useful there. And we're going to go to skill specs right now, who is in a 1v1 versus Ali. And this guy, I think, is one of the high levels in Lit, actually. Both actually similar combats, 97 versus 97. So luckily for Jay, he's got a fair fight. And doing the smite flicks, too, like an absolute machine right now.
He definitely has a chance. And look at the number of supplies. Look how many brews Jay managed to pick up whilst he was in that clump. You know, he was running around, he wasn't contributing, but he's fully supplied himself up.
He's smite flicking. Well, Jay is confident. Skill specs is confident right now.
And it's worked out for him because Ali's been he's been smited right now. Look at the 36 off no prayer. What a great result from Jay. Still doing the smite flicks. He realizes that people only bring maybe 2 restores into these final areas, and with limited supplies of prayer, once your prayer goes down, obviously it mitigates a lot of damage. It takes down 40% less damage, I believe you take if you've got the correct prayer switch on. And yeah, he's doing so well right now.
No, completely agree with you on there. It's as we said before, he might not be the highest level in terms of stats, but in terms of his experience, PK, and skill specs, yeah, spill specs. He's definitely you know, not afraid to show it here as well, with especially flicking through.
He's confident and he's used to this. He's used to the pressure of live streaming and people judging every single click that he makes. Now, I'm conscious of the 2 fights we can see in the northwest corner. They're not one of the players on stage, but we see next to each other 2 sets of Verax with a fire cape.
Ooh, interesting.
Both of them.
To be taken out this early on as well, to have someone else in the same gear as you, makes it so much easier for other people to progress. Obviously, only one can make it through right now. Back to Jay, though. He is full HP. He's got so many more supplies left. He's got through, I reckon. I think he's going to be into the 32.
Oh, he's easily won this fight.
Oh, the G-Maw coming in, 0-18 though, a bit of a delayed spec. He's got 1 spec left remaining. No, that was full of spec at the special attack right now. He doesn't know if Ali's actually got a spec weapon just yet, although Ali does not have one at all. Looks like Jay's, easily going to take it. Again, the smite flicks coming in, just trying to do everything he can, warm up, get some practice in before he bites someone that's actually a lot stronger than this guy.
Yeah, the brews that, you know, Skill Specs currently has in his inventory is worth more than the bank that he had at the start of this final hour or so. He's doing a great job. I think he's got this fight in the bag. I mean, we could see Ali, he just doesn't have a lot to work with, and even the levels are pretty close between these members now. I will say the first round of fights here are going to play out a little bit differently than what we're going to see later on. You know, the Varox versus a Tribird setup, I would say with more brews in the inventory, I might favor the Tribird setup just a little bit, but as you know, you start to control the pace a little bit more and you start to limit the brews and focus more on just the single item consumables, that's when the Varox is really going to be able to set the tempo.
And we can talk about it right now. In the northeast corner, we see Clump Dump versus Blue Destiny, and I believe Blue Destiny actually has that full Varox setup, whereas the other guy only has mage and range. He's trying right now his best to do the whole DDing underneath, doing damage, but Blue is just constantly spam clicking to as much time as he can. Got much better defense bonuses, much better stats as well. Looks to be 119 combat, both being almost max stats actually. And this is just the true power of full Varox.
One has piety, one doesn't.
Oh, that's a big difference too. Obviously, 25% extra defense bonus, 23% attack, I believe, and 20% strength compared to the 15% you get from the normal prayers. Not to mention that as well, but actually Verax, 1 in 4 chance of hitting through the defense and through the prayer of the opponent. So when you get those lucky RNG hits, it does so much damage. And Manx right now as well in a fight against Sears at the moment, both 118, 122 combat, and Sears almost out of restores. He's got a Darok set by the looks of things. He's going to be low HP, maybe. He can catch Manx up mage off guard when he takes his spray melee. But at the moment, he's doing really well. Manx is just, you know, completely got the Verax set again. Looks like he's going to take this one through.
Sure. I think it's every tournament so far, Ian, you've said that you're waiting for that Verax finish.
I've seen a few people with it, to be honest, but we haven't seen a massive KO. And
we haven't.
As much as I love Manx, I want to see him go through, I wouldn't be surprised if he was to take him down with the massive Darok here. And as we see now, the fog is starting to hit in the 1v1 stage, dealing 2s, just to kind of speed up the fights, make it transition a bit faster.
This is, of course, if we find multiple clanmates finding themselves in the 1v1s, maybe they don't want to fight each other, they want to just sit here and waste people's times. We need to make sure things progress. We have a lot of fights still to happen. It's crazy to think that this is kind of like the halfway point getting into the 1v1s at this point. And we can see Curtis winning against You Never Learn, potentially taking him out if we can go back to that fight. That's it.
That's it. Wow. Curtis goes through to the next round.
The guy had food left.
Well done, Curtis. Sure. Clearly been practicing.
Definitely the dark horse to be keeping an eye on in this tournament.
And it's important to recognize the timings in these fights when that fog is actually going to set in. It's important to heal up as close to full HP as possible before that fog sets in, because if you're just focused on trying to tank up and sustain your HP while the fog sets in, you're just giving the pace and the tempo of the fight straight on to the other player. And you're starting to see a lot of DD fights, DD breeding occurring. You can actually make your character invisible. When it comes to prayer switching, you could see the switches coming in from the other opponent, so you know exactly what style to pray against.
Yep.
And talking about switches here, you can actually see Mank in between attacks, whenever he can, he's actually switching into the Crystal Shield to reduce the damage that is being taken.
And he's smite flicking. And I will point out, I think, Ian, you told me something about a name earlier. There's a guy in the top right-hand corner of this screen. You might be able to recognize it. That might be Torvesta.
Is it really? I can't see the name right now on the screen, unfortunately. But
there you have it. Mank has just gone through to the next round as well.
Well done, Manked Up Mage.
Showing that the full Verax is definitely worthwhile.
So is that confirmed that for once Torvesta did not die to an object?
That's a first. Did he win his fight?
He didn't win well, he hasn't died to an object, so he's been able to survive the gates, the doors that we have in RuneScape. So at least now it's just down to pure skill. And I think for Mank, that's a huge weight lifted off his shoulders. I think this very first round, the fight, like we were saying, with so many brews available in the inventory, like with that full Varrock setup, sometimes you could just get outpaced and outlasted by that Tribrid setup. But being able to survive this first round, he's definitely feeling confident looking ahead in this tournament.
I've just heard a really interesting piece of information. All 4 players on stage have made it past.
Wow.
Let's get it. Incredible.
We might have a winner on stage. We actually might.
Okay, next round we need Skill Specs versus Robert, and we also need MMORPG versus Manked. Imagine that, MMORPG versus MMORPG. Which name is stronger?
Well, it could happen, and you see right now that the combat levels of these players, 117, 122.
Oh, he's got a Hell Puppy.
Wow, he's been doing Cerberus. Oh, Quadbrider. This is actually a solo player, I'm pretty sure. He actually DM'd me last night and told me about his strategy. Got himself a Hell Puppy whilst doing Cerb, trying to get himself some prims.
But he's only got melee.
Didn't get any significant items, and yeah, just with melee, he can't really do much here. The guy's going to keep praying melee up the whole time, plus he's in much better tank gear. I was saying that, both down to about 5-6 brews left, so it could be anyone's game right now. And then if he actually does kill Walk Away, he obtains his items too. Then he'll have a double switch, he'll have melee, and he'll have range.
Sure, I mean 5-6 brews, but let's just remember this is the first fight. These are the supplies that they had from before when they were in the Permadeath stage. How coordinated were they to be able to still survive and have that many supplies at the end? Either that or they were going around and they were just looting everything.
Well, you can bank before the 1v1 final starts, so probably decided to grab a few items at the bank, and that's why they have full supplies right now. But obviously,
this guy's lying. You see him lie? He doesn't have 6 brews left.
Well, beyond this final now, obviously, every player will get the same inventory. I believe 20 sharks, is it? A couple of potions.
Correct, yeah.
And if you haven't got space for those items, they drop to the floor. Your whole inventory is wiped, so even if you had like 10 brews left, doesn't matter. Everyone's on a fair playing ground from this one-on-ones.
So there's a couple major differences here. Quad nearly has Piety, but didn't quite get there. And Walk has Vengeance. Vengeance is so crucial in these 1v1s. That is taking away so many pieces of food from your opponent. Obviously, as long as you have the rune pouch, which he does. Walk Away has so many super restores.
And again, talking about the range right now, he's got, I mean, just the DPS that range does is absolutely incredible. They've got 3 brews left. It could be anyone's game right now. It just depends on DPS right now. But Walk Away has the superior gear, the Verax Helm, the Crystal Shield compared to Quad's Dragon Battle Axe. I'm actually surprised he's not switching at all. He has got Rune Bolts in inventory. He's got a range switch. He could start switching and trying to fake him out. He's trying to, I believe, getting those hits off prayer, which do a lot more DPS right now, too.
I'm surprised Walk Away hasn't used his Gmaul spec yet. Still sitting at 100% spec. You might as well just use it, try to output as much damage as possible. I mean, if you're a Walk Away, you got a little over 2 brews left. If you're a Quadbrider, you got now just 1 final brew. Use the Gmaul, get rid of that spec, and try to advance to the second round.
He is level 117 combat, so even though he has no super combat in his inventory, he can still hit 30 plus his Gmaul. He could literally kill Quadbrider from full HP. Since this whole fight, Quad has had prey range up, since Walk Away has no switches. So could catch him off guard and could win this fight. And now 1 brew versus 1 as well.
And one of the things that we saw with the PvP championship we did a couple of years back is players start to spec immediately in the fight.
Yeah.
Nobody ever expects it, and by the end of the fight, you've got your spec back. So it's interesting seeing this strategy not being a more commonly known thing.
I would say that's going to be more important in the future rounds. As we start to limit the brews that these guys have in their inventory, you can't really just tank it and lose the tempo of the pace just by sipping brews and tanking the specs.
Supplies? He was 3 brews versus 3 brews. Now he's down a brew, and he's down like 20 HP. It looks like Walk Away may take this one.
The P-Nex might save him.
Oh, the P-Nex.
He's really got a hope on those. But I think this just goes to show the power of Vengeance in these one-on-one situations, especially when you're not able to turn around and, using range melee, and for a very long time, only sticking to that melee, not using the switches.
Put on the P-Nex. The fog is going to tick it.
And he's got no prayer left either. His prayer has dropped. He's going to drink a restore. He got comboed out. What? He could have won that with the 2 Phoenixes too. What a silly mistake to make. Walk Away making it through.
Goodbye Quadbrider and goodbye Hell Puppy. Going to disappear off the map. This might be our final 1v1 here.
There's a tuna and a starter.
So interesting. I want to talk about this. So basically, the supply drops that you get at the start of the game, you get from Lumbridge. You get 1 supply crate per day. It gives you, I think, 10 or 12 tuners. And I guess this guy decided to gather them day by day, bring them into the final area, then open up that supply crate.
So the extra food at the end.
Since it only takes up one inventory slot, he got 10 extra tuners. And Bullet made the difference, though, not by the looks of things. 45 Smith, now a bit more food. But the redemption fix, oh my god, the 27 KO. He had a brew left as well, quite unfortunate. And I guess the supply crate actually pays off. Interesting strategy.
Well, credit to them in that. I mean, it's one of the things that we did raise before, thinking, is this something that we should allow? But at the end of the day, if people are going to utilize that strategy, then, you know, all for it.
So we've got a 3-minute break between the rounds here. Let's talk briefly about what we just witnessed. Okay, first and foremost, the most important thing is all 4 players on stage have made it through.
Yep.
I don't know how, especially seeing skill specs was not that stacked. How did he make it through the final area, not getting attacked, walking through the masses of players, people not knowing who he was, because he streamed the whole thing, and people are not targeting him, out of respect, maybe?
Running with Lit certainly helped him, just being able to disguise himself within the masses. Plus, he did a great job about looting every single brew that he saw on the ground. We saw as he entered that 1v1 area, his inventory was at least like half brews, so make sure that he had consumables to keep his HP high. And you know, he knows how to PvP, right? He knows how to click. He PKs a lot. So when all these guys get down to their 1v1s, they're super confident. They know that they could win these 1v1s. It's just about surviving the multi-area. He's able to do that. Now he's feeling great.
Yeah, he was also quite lucky to have been matched up against someone of a very similar combat level. We've seen people in there with 120 plus combat. Jay's around 90 plus, I think, just below 100, 96, 97. I think that was in his advantage, but at the end of the day, he also shown that he was very skilled, and I think that's what helped him win that fight.
I think being a lower combat actually made him avoid the clans. A lot of them snipe out the higher levels, the ones that are actually going to pose a threat in the 1v1 final area. But now Jay is here, and I mean, he could go a bit further. You never know.
I'm rooting for him now. I mean, I thought he would never get this far,
the underdog,
but I'm like, wow, okay, go for it if he can
prove this all wrong.
Let's go ahead and find out what the audience thinks. We have some very vocal people sitting in the audience here, guys. Give it up if you think Manked Up Mage has a chance to win this. Okay, reasonable. What about MMORPG? There's a boo in there. There's definitely a boo in there, Curtis. That's probably one of your friends. What about skill specs?
Oh,
a fan favorite.
Skill specs here.
I like that. Okay. And what about Robert? More boos.
Okay.
Robert feeling very confident, though. One of the things he kept on saying yesterday was, if I make it into the 1v1s, I'm going to do well. So now is his time to shine. Let's see if he can prove it.
I mean, in my opinion, both Robert and Mank have opted for the best strategy, having the full Verax, the 1 in 4 chance, I think, through defense and through prayer. And it looks like they could go really, really far this time. And Curtis, too, showing that he's not just an Iron Man. He can definitely PvP, and he beat that guy in a 1v1.
I mean, you never learned the first winner of Deadman before.
And he beat him.
And incredible scenes.
And Curtis, leading up, in the hours leading up to this tournament, as much as he's played this past week, he didn't take a single break. He headed into the normal old school RuneScape game, asked a friend to gear up with his exact gear, brought his Deadman gear into old school, went to the duel arena, and then fought him over and over and over again for hours. He's prepared for this, he's mentally prepared, and he's looking to do really well.
Yeah, these guys aren't messing around. I mean, they put in the practice for good reason. $32,000 on the line. You know, half the players have now been eliminated. We're down to our final 64, and the pressure's now starting to get on it. And like we've been saying, and we've been setting the scene this whole tournament long, now these players with that full Verax setup, they're going to be feeling more and more comfortable as this tournament progresses and goes on. And those players that are in Tribert, you know, with all those switches, you're going to be limited on food. It's going to be harder for you to set and control the pace of the fight. We'll see if they could last. I know Curtis is MMORPG. He's still sticking with his Tribert setup.
What would be interesting, though, is if they actually kill someone with different gear, let's say a DFS,
and swap out.
Infernal Cape, swap it out, maybe change it up. If they see the Verax doing exceptionally well and hear us right now talking about it, maybe they'll change up their ideas and their strategies.
Yeah, so we have 4 players on stage, guys. Just to recap, Robert, one of the OGs with Deadman, one of the true champions since the beginning of the release of Deadman, known as one of the best players of all time. Easy. Skill specs, one of the most diverse PKers out there.
Most entertaining as well.
The Carols to the Daroks, he can PK with all of it. That's apparent. Curtis, practice for days, every single tournament, looking very strong. Maxed combat, great gear. Manked came second this past Deadman beta, won a Deadman tournament in the past, has the best gear out of everybody on stage, probably the fan favorite.
Definitely, and
Look
right
at these
away,
inventories, man.
Right away, we have MMORPG versus Watari, and Watari has Looks like he's got no switches, 98 combat, probably 99 range as well, 88 hit points, doing like a range tank build with a 72 per air as well, and just bolting the whole way, hoping that range tank is a good win for him. But Curtis, I mean, this is potentially a free going forward. He's 20 combats on the guy, 25 combats actually. He has the tribrid setup as well, range, mage, and melee, so we can do different things and fake his opponent out, trying to use the wrong prayers. And right now he's showing that he's worth, and he's doing a fantastic job of it. Again, the DDing strategy, trying to mitigate damage, not taking much tool, and yeah, catching him the right prayers every single time.
And although it's nice for Curtis to catch these freezes, I feel like he outlevels the guy. He's got the better gear as well. I think you could just take him straight up here. Of course, it's nice just to mitigate the damage coming your way and just to make sure you 100% control the tempo of this fight. Well, I think we're going to be seeing Curtis advance.
He doesn't know what's in his inventory,
facts,
of course, right? And what we're looking at for these sharks and the crown bonds, you might be wondering why there are empty inventory spaces in Watari's inventory. And that's because this is what they're given. After they win a fight, they go on to the next round. These are the supplies that we give them. Of course, we wouldn't ask them to go through several fights using the same gear setup or inventory supply of food. So this is what they get. He didn't bring a single switch. He does have a rune pouch. He's just going Venge range tank.
So apparently Robert is also low. We're going to jump over to him in a second. And, oh, Verax versus Verax, is that right now? It looks like it. He has one supply crate as well. Interesting strategy. Again, 10 to 12 tuners in that supply crate, so another 120 HP, which is really significant. That's 5 sharks plus. So right now, down to 2 sharks, 1 brew left.
Fairly even.
It is fairly even.
The 2 extra doses of brew are really going to help out Robert as well. His name is Rock, Paper, DDS if you're trying to keep track of both these guys as they go at it. Mithril Seeds as well as for Milo versus I think that crate might wind up being the difference here.
Oh, definitely. I think he wants to keep it for as long as he possibly can because it could make the difference between a win and a loss if he makes it right for the end. He doesn't really need to use it either. Look at the inventory space he's got left. Chucking on the Granite Shield in between every hit for the extra defense bonus, plus the Vengeance, which takes a bit of damage and recalls it back to your opponent. So that, again, as I said earlier, it makes a huge difference too.
This is a great fight. Robert is looking likely to win it. This is going to be a big confidence booster for him.
Man. Again, that 1 in 4 chance of hitting through defense, hitting through the prayer.
Well, that's it.
Wow, that was it. The Vengeance. He didn't even eat the shark.
Left though, yeah, surprising.
He's happy. Well done.
Something I saw Robert using as well. He's got Emerald Bolt on as well. His opponent was poisoned just to add that extra DPS later on in the fight. He has that range switch just in case he goes up against the Tribrid, but he's going to start out with range, make sure he gets that poison, then swaps over to Vera.
For sure, and when you're in limited supplies, you don't get any more than this. Every single piece of DPS matters.
But I tell you what, if Mangt and Robert go up against each other, Mangt has a way to take that back, actually. He has Cosmic Runes, Lore Runes in his inventory, plus Venge in the Rune Pouch, which means he can cure himself. If someone does start to use Emerald Bolts against him, he has the upper hand there as well. Although 2 inventory spaces less than everyone else, doesn't matter. The food will drop to the floor. He'll have the same supplies everyone else has.
This fight wasn't even close.
It's really one-sided. The amount of supplies that Mangt has left.
It goes to show the true power of...
And here we go. Now full Darrow goes to him.
2 for 2. Let's see if skill specs and Curtis can keep it going.
Finale. And Mangt had the misseas as well. He's ready for a really skilled Tribrid fight.
Yep, just in case someone freezes and tries to deal underneath him. We have now again Mangt versus Watari. And
this is
Curtis. Sorry, Curtis versus Watari. And I know what I was going to say earlier. I thought that Watari might be able to come back. The range tank meta with a Vengeance might have been enough. But no, look at the supplies he has left. Going to show he deserves to be here today. He has 6 sharks, a whole brew versus no supplies for Watari. Yeah, that just goes to show, like I said before, the
When he arrived yesterday, he was 69 strength.
He was,
attack, 70 defense.
He set up all night trying to train his stats up as best he could. He was going to go out and kill people today, but then he thought to himself, actually, I want to have a chance to 1v1s. And he made it through one of the rounds. I think that's the furthest actually he's gotten so far in the tournaments, pretty sure. So maybe next time round he'll go even further.
Yeah, I mean, we brought you guys over to Leicester yesterday. We went out for a meal, and we were all like, well, where's skill specs? He's in his room training, and he was probably until 5 a.m. He has put in the work. He definitely deserved to make it this far. That being said, there was actually a little surprise announcement that I haven't actually mentioned yet. You don't even know about it yet. Nobody knows about it yet.
Oh, wow. Here we go.
It's nothing as hyped up as I'm making it to be, but we've brought over a few. I don't know if you guys have ever seen. We have these kind of fake RuneScape items in real life.
Okay.
So we gave the guys on stage a bunch in their hotel rooms, and we've got a god sword here. It's massive. It looks amazing. And we've decided, just before going live, why not give it to the last player alive on stage?
That sounds like a fair enough deal.
A nice little trophy for whoever happens to make it the farthest out of the
Who's your money on?
Well, I said earlier, I think, yeah, it's got to be Manked. He's got the most experience. Did really well recently in the beta. He's got the best stats and gear. Curtis has equal stats, but a little bit worse gear. So skill-wise, we'll have to see if they do end up fighting each other, which of them's going to end up winning that. But if it comes down to it, I would put my money on Manked because of the gear.
Absolutely, I think I agree with you too. And in about 5 seconds' time, we're going to jump back into the game again, into the next round of the 1v1s. Let's get it.
Okay, who have we got here? Back in the full Verax fight in the bottom right-hand corner, we have DMMFreakshow versus Rock, Paper, DDS. That is Robert.
That is Robert indeed. And
they're both just unloading DDS specs. What is this?
Well, I mean,
so interesting here. Look at what Robert has in his invent. He's taken the crate tactic.
Switch. I think that's definitely a good idea. Oh, the crate as well, yeah, from before. Also, he's actually brought an extra Carol's item. I don't know if he had that before. He picked it up from his opponent.
Oh my God,
but having that double Carol
just
switch.
Smashed.
Yeah, again, RNG right now, just taking too much damage at the moment. And the other guy has a different steel shield switch. He has a crystal shield, which has a lot more defense bonus. It's probably the second best in slot you can probably get on Deadman mode with what's available. Granite shield has a lot of range defense bonus. But not going to help much against that Verax, especially when it has a 1 in 4 chance of
hitting
through
hit
defense.
after hit right now.
And he's starting to box. He's starting to panic a little bit. Robert's got to bring this one back and hope for some really good RNG hits. But the Vengeance coming to fruition as well. Both players have it, and maybe, just maybe, that crate will be his lifeline. Maybe we can come back with the 10 tuners to decide it and win this one.
This is the gamble with bringing Verax. In this fight, there is a lot more luck involved. You're using the exact same gear as your opponent. It's a 50-50 at that point. The shield switch is going to be the difference. Robert's got the poison going for him, but he's absolutely getting swamped. Yeah. Luck is not in his favor. Now, had he been a skilled Tribert and brought Arams, Freeze, DD'd underneath.
Oh, saying that though, the 39, could that be the comeback that he needs?
That could have made the difference.
If he can get onto the offensive now and get a good couple of hits in a row, the difference in food is going to be completely leveled out very quickly.
41 as well. The combo's coming in really hard for him right now, but he only has 4 sharks left compared to 7 sharks and a brew. Obviously, the brew heals 60 per dose, and the sharks only hit 20. But still, though, an onslaught keeps coming from Robert. Can he bring it back? The 38, unfortunate for Vengeance, though, indeed.
Take the risk, going for the next hit.
Coming down to the wire here, 4 sharks down to just 2. The supply crate still in the inventory here for Robert, as he's just trying to take control of the pace of the fight. It looked like for a moment he might be able to take over. Vengeance, of course, helping out both these players massively. Free damage is the best kind of damage you could deal out in these types of fights.
I mean, look at
both players near full HP, but Robert's out. He's got no more sharks left to eat.
Freakshow healing up to full health. How demoralizing is it as a PKer to see your opponent go straight to full?
Well, the thing is, he's got 3 sharks left, and obviously if, oh no, the 37 for Robert, if he does start using these yeah, he's using the tuners, they heal 10 HP per time, but you've got to wait several ticks to actually hit again. So run on the map. He's going to try and stall a little bit while stinging the tuners. 3 sharks is 60 hit points. He has like 8 tuners being 80 HP, so now that is even the odds. It is 50-50, Rock, Paper, DDS versus DMMFreakshow. Can Robert take this and go through to the next stage? The Vengeance coming in as well.
Perfectly timed on that hit, although it wasn't the greatest of hits to have it back on. But
DMM is out of food.
Coming down to the wire right now. Oh, the double hit right there. He's got 1 tuner left as well.
There's no way.
You think so? It's 26 HP difference.
Don't count him out just yet.
If he hits a small hit on the Vengeance, he could potentially come back and win it. 11, he's down to KO'able HP. The 29 can actually kill him right now, but a few good RNG hits here, and he can actually win it back. And also,
unfortunately,
no way.
Give it up for Robert, guys.
GG.
Come on.
Great strategy as well.
It was a great run. He can't be disappointed with that.
Couple hits go his way. He takes control of that fight easy. That supply crate could have been the absolute difference. Almost brought him back into the fight, but we still got more people fighting. You see Card Hawk over there, over towards Northwest. That's actually going to be toward Vesta. He's doing pretty well in his fight. Looks like he's got the Tribird set up as well.
And I think what came down to actually was the Crystal Shield, maybe over the Granite Shield, taking a few hours of questing, but definitely worth doing, as to show that first week of preparation is so crucial. As you said before, we have Murmur RPG versus Big Bicep, now down to, oh, look at that, Curtis has actually got more supplies. He has 5 Sharks, 1 Brewdose versus 3 Sharks, 2 Brewdoses. He's got a good chance here. He's the focus in his mind right now. He needs to get as far as what he can, not waste supplies. The DDing tactic coming to fruition so well right now.
Yeah.
And yeah, Vengeance and Varak being beaten, surprisingly. Will he change up his gears as I said before? I have no idea. Clearly, he's rocking this one and doing very well with it, too. But at the same time, tables are turning, taking a lot of damage right now. Oh, my gosh.
Oh, my God.
He's got to freeze and DD and start taking control of this fight again, if he can do. Now, sidestepping out to the side rather than just straight away. If he goes for those, he won't get hit back, but he's getting hit back as well. Big Bicep doing so much damage, man. And now he's come back into the fight. I think Big Bicep actually leading this fight now after Curtis was winning the whole way. But potentially gets a few hits off prayer, can definitely come back a bit more. First, oh, 17 barrage, beautiful. And those barrages, obviously, if he catches them on the right prayer. Huge hits, 29. He's got a freezer now, down to the end. The crowd is starting to heat up a little bit.
The combat level difference is really starting to show here. You can see Big Bicep's melee hits are just not as strong. If he was the same level as Curtis, I think this fight would have been over by now. But Curtis's dedication this past week in grinding every single day, so many hours,
it is so
might have just won him this fight.
We have 71 HP. No, about 50 versus 50 HP if Curtis decides to eat that food. I think he's just a bit higher in HP. But the G Maul coming out, 1 spec hits a 0. Unfortunate for Big Bicep there, the RNG not in his favor. Curtis has 70% spec in a G Maul. He could also do the same tactic if he wanted to. But currently, just trying to step out, get a few hits in. And again, neck and neck, 39 versus 52.
Fortunate 0-0. The G Maul, extremely close fight right now.
Oh. This is the hard thing as a Triber, is catching that freeze, and assuming Curtis is able to catch this next freeze, the G Maul going to hit 0 there despite no prayer being up. Can he catch the freeze? The Vengeance hitting him. Curtis somehow he's got a blood blitz. He's got a blood blitz to stay alive.
Here we go. Is Curtis going to take this?
No way! That was unreal. My God, I think he flicked up Redemption there and almost brought that back.
Give it up for Curtis, guys.
That was unbelievable.
If it was just a smaller hit, that was definitely Curtis's fight to win.
Very close until the very end. I thought, you know, he had to use Blood Blitz maybe a little bit just to try to heal. Any little bit of help could have helped him out there. But that's the tough thing for these Tribers in these fights going up against the Varrox is if you're not able to catch those freezes, it's just wasted a tactic.
Wait a second.
You just let the Varrox player roam around freely.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but we do see ourselves a Darok set from DMM Chat going in for those 70s. Come on, son, I want to see it hit, but unfortunately he's out of food, and WUU2 does have a little package to save for later as well, which is going to be super helpful in a little bit. But DM Chan going for those redemption heals. He's got no prayer left. Maybe he could hit that prayer. He could still hit it now if he wants to. No food left for either of them. WUT does not want to waste his supply crate he's got, and it's going to be worthwhile. He's going to lose it. Oh, he used it.
He should G-Maul spec then go into the axe after.
Oh, so close. Could have hit through prayer as well. Oh, man, we saw the Daroks at least. That was good to see.
Interestingly, will they pick the Daroks up?
No.
No, I doubt it. Clearly, the full range setup meta is working really well for them right now with the Crystal Shield as well, the Carol's top and such.
You should always go with what you're comfortable with, not necessarily what, well, that wouldn't even be the meta. That wouldn't even be best in the slot. That would just be silly. But even still, you should always go with what you're comfortable with, which is what Curtis is doing. But he has now got himself the full set of Verax against Big Bicep. Or sorry, this is Manked, I should
Manked
say.
Up Mage, yeah. Going to take revenge for Curtis, hopefully. Both got the same set as you said before, the Verax. So just coming down to really who is the better switcher. Although saying that, Mank does have slightly better stats, a little bit more maxed, 10 combat levels over him, which will make a bit of a difference, won't it?
He's also opted to take along with him a defender as well. So when he gets in those melee hits, in fact, is he going to be able to use the defender?
Yeah, DDS specs.
Yep. Oh, the DDS, of course. Yeah, I was thinking to myself, fail, two-handed hate.
Yeah, I know, right?
Realising the bottom corner, Robert's favourite weapon.
Okay, guys, so somebody backstage has heard me and brought this God Sword over. Thank you so much. We do actually have it next to me.
You're going to show us a God Sword special attack there, Archie?
It's an SGS, so... No, I mean, that's just pretty easy, isn't it? I'm not doing it. But here you go. I'm going to try to give an idea of scale. This thing is huge. I don't know how you're going to bring this home. Mank is the last player left alive on stage.
It's his now.
It's his now, yeah.
He's got to get a very long train home.
He's going to get some weird looks bringing that on the train, man.
I'm just going to give it to him now. We're not going to wait. Come on, Mank. Come on. This is your God Sword. Yeah, own it with pride. There you go. The last player alive on stage.
Spec Archie.
I don't know how you're going to get that home. I don't know if he knew we were giving this to him. This was a very last second thing. But you got a D-Simi as well. You can dual wield. Yeah, why not? Well done. And best of luck in the next fight. Who are you fighting? Big Bicep. Big Bicep. You need to avenge Curtis, of course. Yeah.
To see Manked in this next round, how are we feeling? Do we think he's going to make it to the final again? Is he going to win another Deadman tournament whilst on stage?
I mean, I've not seen any Ring of Sufferings in the final right now, and that is the biggest threat to him currently. If someone has that over him, it's a huge amount of extra damage. But I've not seen any being utilized in the final.
No, me neither. I think a lot of rot must have been taken out.
They must have been before the final area, which means that he has just as much chance to beat everyone. It comes down to a raw skill fight right now. His shield switches, his smite flicks, using the DS specs at the right kind of time.
We've seen Manked fight many fights before, and he is very skilled. And I'm really excited to see how this comes out.
I really think it's going to come down to the nerves. Manked has been here before. Many times. He came second in the beta. That's a little nerve-wracking. He's won a Deadman finale. He's made it to the top 10 a bunch. He's easily the most experienced person in fighting in the 1v1s and in top 10 scenarios in Deadman in the world. That's a title. Big Bicep has a lot of experience with Deadman. He is definitely no noob. He's no stranger. He took out Curtis. He's looking strong. His build is
Only
strong.
just, though. I mean, Curtis was very close. If that hit was a little bit less, Curtis would have got another redemption.
It would have been
more prayer. And it would have been his fight.
Monk as well. Yeah,
Curtis versus Mank. That would have been an interesting fight. But yeah, it's definitely. I think Mank is by far going to win this one. They have the same setup. Mank's more experienced, has a little bit more in terms of levels on him. He also has the DDS switch as well, and I think that's what's going to help it win.
Yeah, I saw Big Biceps. He doesn't have that DDS in his inventory. I wonder what bolts he's using. If he has Emerald, then at least he has the chance to poison. But I think Mank also has the heal, the cure, so that won't really play a big into effect. But that damage, the extra damage being applied from the poison, it could be the difference in this upcoming fight. We'll see what it comes down to.
And Mank is also the fan favorite. I don't know if that's worth anything, but everybody in this audience wants to see him win it, I hope.
Yeah, they do.
I'm sure we have a lot of viewers in the chat right now showing him some love. Also worth mentioning, check out these guys' streams. Without saying, they stream the entire tournament. It's so fun to watch. Watching them progress from the first day to the point where they are here, absolutely worthwhile. So hopefully he goes on to do us proud, but if not, it's been a great run.
I think he's going to win it, and I think we're going to find out very soon what's going to happen in the next fight.
Yeah,
here we go.
Right, let's jump into the next round. Manked versus Big Bicep, YouTuber versus streamer. Mank doing some YouTube actually lately as well. He's been making some great content.
Yeah, a lot of people have been putting up their content on YouTube throughout the Deadman tournament. Nice to see, especially even if it's just progress and stuff.
And Mank actually got in, I think, 2 DS specs there on the right Prey. He had Prey Mage up Big Bicep and threw the prayer again right there.
Strong.
He's doing pretty well right now. Unfortunately, his specs didn't hit, to be honest. And again, he's just controlling this fight pretty well. Again, those stats, he is 10 combat levels higher, which is quite a few attack, strength, and defense combined, making a big difference. Plus, he quested out that Crystal Shield. It'll take a few hours to do, but in my opinion, it's the second best you can possibly get in Deadman mode.
And they're fighting on the same tick right now, or at least they were. So there's no point working in the shield switch or prayer switching or spike flicking. But now Mank quickly observing that's not the case anymore. Sneaking in a kick, we'll edit that one out. Nobody saw that.
That's beyond.
He thought, I've just accidentally hit you 4 times in a row with huge hits. I'm going to kick you and give you a chance, right?
Maybe the tide's turning here. Gmaul into the flail, just trying to increase the damage for a Big Bicep. Even those 5 extra HP levels for Mank could wind up being the difference.
But Mank's praying the wrong thing right now and taking 2 big hits from it, 2 14s, and he's back onto Prey Melee. Maybe he heard us. Not too sure there. And he's doing pretty well, though. Looking at food right now, it is 7 Sharks and a Ground 1 and a Brew versus, I believe, 5 2 Ground 1s, 1 Brew dose. So although Mank was dominating this fight from the start, Big Bicep came back a little bit, but is it enough? I mean, the 27 versus 27 right there, it is neck and neck right now, isn't it, Riven?
Yep, and you're seeing them trying to run away, create some distance while they're trying to tank it and heal up, just to delay the attacking tick from their opponent. As Mank's staying alive for the time being. And food's starting to wind up low on Big Bicep here.
This is scarily even. Big Bicep up to full health. Still has a few food. He's significantly lower level, outmatched in gear. He doesn't have the fire cape. Does he have the Crystal Shield? No, what's his
He's
switch?
got a Granite Shield.
Oh, Graph is still in.
Range defense bonus. But yeah, Graph is again a previous a finalist pretty much, not the final 2, but he got quite far last time. He is accompanied by Lit right now. They got him right to where he is. And D-level 102 against him, looking like he's just rocking again the full Verax. So if Graphis beats this guy, he could obtain himself full Verax. I'm actually very surprised. Why is D-level not using those Verax and utilizing them? Just ranging the whole time, and Graph is trying to keep him in place. We can't use that Verax right now.
Why.
There we go.
The Tribrid can beat Verax. That is the only thing that can take it out, it seems, unless you have Verax itself. But I really do hope we get to watch the last moments of that Manked fight.
Notice that D level 102 has that Mage Cape, so he could swap spellbooks in between these fights. He has runes for Barrage, and I think in his pouch he also has Vengeance.
You were saying about the last moments of the fight, Archie, and I think you're about to see them right here. Big Bicep out of food, holding up the redemption, but it's not going to be enough.
Progressing once
and he's through to the next round.
Wow. Feeling confident as ever. The experience paying off.
But again, Graphis jumping back into Graphis versus D-Level 102. Again, seeing now the hybrid, if you know what you're doing with the Tribrid meta, able to freeze people in place, then it can pay off for him. But D-Level 2 with the Vengeance 2 adding to a lot of DPS right now. I mean, he's down to 5 Sharks and only 1 Brew. And by the looks of things, Graphis has a lot more supplies than that indeed.
Seeing Dragon Bolts as well being picked up by Graphics, at this stage, like, you don't have anti-fires. Even if you sit one in the multi-area and extended anti-fire, it's long gone by now. So if that special attack hits, it could be devastating damage.
It has a small chance of happening, but I mean, if it does, then yeah, it does pay off.
There are no KO opportunities in the entire fight here. Like, the Granite Maul is the only thing that really has potential to knock somebody down from full. But a sneaky Dragon Bolt 50 can do the job.
You might not see it coming. Also, DDS, we haven't seen any Rambos just yet. Right there, you see from D-Level 102, Graphis from 69 HP. If he has 99 strength, he could have popped to 35, 34, and that would have been it over for Graphis. So, I mean, it could happen. We have to wait and see what happens, really.
It certainly could. And when you consider the fact that Shark heals only 20 HP, that's their main resource right now for regaining their health. You can, the difference between a 50, that's 2.5 Sharks.
Now, if you were in Graphis' position, and you brought Soul...
There it is.
Whoa, the 41, you called it. Sorry,
go on, Chris.
Carry on.
I was just thinking, like, he's obviously more skilled than I am, but I'm wondering why he's not bothering with the blood barrages at all. You get a freeze, you stand under, you do a little bit of healing. He doesn't really need to. He probably knows he's going to win this fight, but he must have brought them for a reason. Right?
I am surprised. I'm not seeing any blood barrages either. I would agree with you there. It would be a smart strategy to use. But right now, Graphis, actually, the gap is being closed with him in D-Level 102. He's got to catch some good freezes here and make the most of it. Every single time he splashes, there's more damage he's going to be taken in. And again, but he's catching off prayer every single time. D-Level, not checking his prayers properly. And those hits that he gets out, Graphis is definitely going ahead really nicely. And the range as well on the prey melee. Beautiful. Hits a 0, unfortunately. Back into the whip, I'm assuming. No, keeping the range up, doing a couple of damage.
This is one of the problems with maging and trying tribriding and using ancients is once you go in for a freeze, you commit yourself to it. You tell yourself you're going to freeze them in that spot, even if you splash however many times. And if you sit there splashing in Arams, you're lower defense, you're not doing any damage, you're really putting yourself at risk.
Yeah.
So and it's a lot of clicks you have to make.
Oh, and just there, he actually could have got comboed out from the Vengeance combo too. But Graphis managed to catch the freeze. He is now down to 1 Shark, 2 Karambwams, 1 Brew versus 1 Shark. So, I mean, he's got the upper hand, definitely, but all it takes is a few really good RNG hits from D-Level 102, a few massive Verak hits. But Graphis now controlling the fight. The Blood Barrage is coming in. He knows he's low supplies, and he's making advantage of it. 2 22s right now.
There it is. He's listening.
Beautiful.
He's got the DDS as well, 90% spec. I'm surprised these aren't coming out. I don't know if he's still convinced he's going to win this fight.
I would be interested to see, actually, if Graphis and Manx go up against each other, maybe come over and actually show that Barrage is better than the full Barrage setup.
As long as he keeps his cool now, doesn't get hit, and just remembers to eat, and that's it. There you have it. Graphis goes through to the next round. Congratulations to him.
Last tournament, we saw him take out Curtis in round number 1. This time, Graphis moving on here at the Deadman Summer Invitational. Still have Manked Up Mage left. I think he's all of our favorites here to win it. A lot of pressure on his shoulder. And keep in mind, the rest of the competitors that are remaining in this tournament, they have the comfort of playing at their home setup, right? You have the crowd here in front of Mank. You have us adding on pressure here. So maybe he's not going to start to feel it yet until that final round. But like you were saying, he has a lot of experience up on this stage, especially in this moment.
Yeah. How many do we have left, sorry? How many rounds left?
I'm not sure, actually.
I misspoke earlier. I think that was the round of 8 we just saw. I want to say this is going to upcoming. This should be the round of 4.
Which there are 4 people left. That means these 4 players have actually earned themselves prize money.
Yeah, I believe it's 20 grand to the first place, 10 grand to the
10, 1, 1.
And then 1 grand to third and 1 grand to fourth.
And then the remaining 12 members will have 12 months of membership applied to their account.
So that means that Manked and Graphis have actually,
some good money.
Guaranteed themselves at least $1,000. Beautiful.
Drinks on Manked tonight then, right?
Yeah, I know, right?
Let's get it.
So Deadman has been incredible for content creators. I know you can attest to that, of course. Manked especially, though. When he was making content before Deadman, it was probably fantastic, just nobody was really recognizing him. He didn't have the platform to stand on. As soon as this guy goes on to win a Deadman tournament, everybody knows his name, especially in Deadman. Same goes for Robert. He's a great Deadman story. I'd love to see a few unfamiliar names coming out of this tournament, making a name for themselves and becoming recognizable, even potentially going into making some content for us to watch.
Yeah, I think Graphis definitely wants to watch as well. He's played many demo tournaments. He's got this far. Last time, unfortunately, he fell a few rounds previously. So this is the furthest he's ever got. He's guaranteed himself some prize money. Must be a huge boost in confidence. And I think he could potentially make it into the finals against Mank too, and that would be quite an interesting streamer versus streamer finale.
Yep.
And speaking of content being made from Deadman, one of my favorite videos that I love seeing across all the Deadman tournaments is when the clans put together their compilation, with the TeamSpeak audio and everything like that, showing their hype moments throughout the tournament. I hope, even though some of the clans lost, they still continue to make those videos because I love watching them and they're so entertaining to see.
I'm so curious how many of these 4, or if any of these 4, are raw or lit, or could these all 4 be solo players?
I'm pretty sure that Graphist accompanied Lit. He is part of them right now, so is Manked as well. In terms of our names that we've seen, I'm not too sure yet, but maybe someone behind the scenes can do a little bit of research and maybe find out for us exactly who they're affiliated with.
Yeah, it's tough to track. I mean, aside from the people that we know for sure, like a lot of people name change coming to these tournaments just to maybe hide their true identity, make themselves less of an obvious or less of a high priority target. Like if you right-click someone and you see like Curtis's name, for example, you're like, wow, cool, I'm going to attack that guy. But if you right-click and see somebody named like BrownCat67, you're like, I'm not really worried about that dude.
I don't know. It's a conflicting one there because streaming Deadman is obviously very enticing. Everybody wants to watch that. It's amazing. However, you're putting yourself at risk. If you're stream sniped, it could all be over. If you expose yourself in a dangerous location, as I'm sure you've done many times. What's that like?
Expose myself in a dangerous location.
Getting stream sniped in Deadman?
Oh my gosh, it's the most frustrating thing ever. But at the same time, all I say is you put yourself at risk if you're live streaming, and I believe everyone understands that as well. We have our first round coming in. Zalmix is Bay versus Manked Up Mage.
This is a tough fight. Why has he got the Carol's top on?
The Carol's top.
Oh, interesting. DFS versus Crystal Shield is what it comes down to.
Ooh, DFS having a lot higher defense bonuses if it's charged, which I believe it is. Both having Furies as well, both having max gear otherwise. And yeah, Mank, you can
at that point, he was not happy about those hits.
Yeah, he's taking way too much damage right now. He's down a couple food. Actually, down quite a bit of food. Down 4, I think, right now, compared to down 1 for Zalmix. And he's going to ask some great RNG here, but still, the hits coming in for Zalmix. He's doing so well. 13s, 12s, every single hit pretty much damaging. Although, saying that, I believe Manked Up Mage has poisoned his opponent. Those 6 damage splats going to keep going in 6, then 5, then 4, so unless he really poisons him as well. And of course, as I said earlier, Manked Up Mage has Cosmics and Lore runes in his inventory, plus the Venge runes in his rune pouch, which means he can cure that poison if Zalmix has it. That may be the difference he needs to clutch it back, although saying that right now, he's down so many food.
However, the brew's already gone for Zalmix. At least Manked has like a full food combo, Shark Brew, Karen
You're going to kick yourself for that one?
So at least he could heal like 54 health in one tick. So that's something that could help him sustain later in this fight. And we've seen all it takes is one good combo, one good sequence of hits, and Manked is right back in this fight.
Yep. It's just like staking. Well, it's not just like staking, but obviously if you see in a stake, you can be down to 4 HP, your opponent nearly full.
Yeah, exactly. You can come back. It does happen, as we see here. Graphist versus Brett. And Graphist, again, showing that he deserves to be here today, representing the streamers out there, using the Blood Blitzes again to try and gain a little bit of advantage, get a bit of HP back. And this just goes to show, having the tank meta as we've seen in the past was quite useful. When you're going at someone that actually knows exactly what they're doing, it doesn't mean anything, does it? Graphist now taking a bit of damage, though, having his prey melee up at the wrong time. And I believe Brett has a whip as well. He has 2 attack styles. When he's frozen, he can't use that whip. And Graph is getting a DDS spec on the right prayer too. Could have been a much bigger DPS damage there, but still, just ticking away. Eventually, he's going to get those hits in on the right prayers, and he's definitely leading this fight.
It's really refreshing to see somebody with a skilled setup like this that Graphist is using, a Tribrid setup, doing so well for himself. After we saw the last tournament, the Verax first coming out, the first ever time it was showed, we were all worried. We were thinking, is everybody just going to bring Verax into these 1v1s from now on? Obviously, that is the case for a lot, but we can still see the Tribrid being very successful.
And back into the fight with Manked Up Mage versus Zalmix, and he's closed the gap. Actually, he has taken control of the fight. He has 4 Sharks versus 3, both on very similar HP, 80 versus 80. Can he show that he deserves to be here with the Crystal Shield versus the DFS at a disadvantage right now, but still hanging on there?
And if Mank takes this fight, he's going to be able to pick up that DFS and take it into the next round as well.
Not only that, but he guarantees himself at least $10,000 too.
True, probably more important.
Which is insane for him too. But right now, Zalmix, look, he has no food left, and now Manked has 2, although taking a little bit of damage as well. I bet they're both similar HPs right now. Yeah, they're exactly the same HP.
Close.
If Zalmix eats a food right now, coming down to the clutch, but he gets that 27 in there.
Eat a food, but he's got none left.
The unfortunate low vengeance hit for Mank there. That could have been an issue.
Surprisingly
but I think
too.
And there we have it. Mank's gone through.
Goes on to confirm at least 2nd place. $10,000.
Not only that, but he also gets himself a DFS, a really significant upgrade. Will it be Graphist versus Manked Up Mage in the final today? We have Brett DW trying to come back and actually turn the tides right now, although saying that Graphist has a whole brew left, which is a 64 HP compared to a 20 inventory slot from the Shark. And using the DS specs now, trying to utilize whatever he has, trying to put everything in right now, and getting hit 38, he's got Prey melee up, the wrong prayer, unfortunately, really being damaged for that. And that could actually be the comeback for Brett right now, couldn't it? Still, 5 Sharks left for Brett. Graphist, 1 Shark, 1 Brew, and I don't know how, but he's suddenly on the back burner. He's not actually winning as much as he was.
He's splashing every attempt and
starting to panic too. Yeah, with the staff bash as well.
He's just trying to freeze him. He's wearing Carols and praying Mage. You should not be trying to freeze him in this setup.
At this point,
give it up, go back to your melee or range.
The DPS is all that's needed right now, but yeah, all these splashes. I was going to say earlier, the Blood Barrage is pretty worthwhile, but now he's down to only 1 brew dose and no other supplies left, plus he's poisoned, whereas Brett has 74 hit points, plus another 100 HP in his inventory and Sharks. It's going to take something really magical here for Graphics to come back, but I mean, we've seen it happen before. It could happen again today.
We're going to need confirmation as to which clan Brett is representing, or if he is a solo player. Hopefully we have somebody looking behind the scenes to find that out. We do know that Manked is representing Lit. This would be Lit's 2nd ever victory, I believe.
If he was to take it past.
If he was to win it.
And if Graphist wins this fight, if he's able to come back sometimes, then again, it's a Lit victory too. But it doesn't look like that's going to be the case, as Brett just dominating right now, trying to get the redemption. He's got 3 doses to super restore, and it could happen if it's a 1 or 2. I mean, he's tanking so much damage right now. He's down 4 Sharks. It doesn't look like it's going to be possible for Graphist, but to get this far, to guarantee himself $1,000, sorry, is you know, a feat in itself, and I think he's very happy with his performance today.
We've just received confirmation Brett is in Lit. That means a top 3 for Team Lit.
Oh, wow.
That's big. That's a big hit to Rot as well.
And unfortunately,
well done,
Graphist down, though, yeah.
It was a great run. Brett DW going on to take on Manked in the finale.
I mean, that fight right there just came down to the fact that Graphics was unable to catch the freezes. I really would have loved to see him just switch styles, try to get some extra damage. At some point in time, like you were saying, just give up on the freeze. Try to focus on getting some damage in there and forcing your opponent to eat, or at the very least, swap off of that Protect from Magic perk. Give yourself a better chance at getting the freeze later, yeah.
Yeah, switch to your tank gear when you're getting hit.
But it is a lot of clicks, right? You got to figure you have to click the barrage, click on the person, then in between those attack styles, switch onto your tank gear. It's tough to do if you're not the fastest clicker.
And we've just received confirmation, sorry, that Torvesta made it to the round of 8.
Okay, so I was lying to you guys this whole time. We're not there yet.
He will be proud of that. We'll see a good video from him, I'm sure.
Yeah, definitely. And another thing to mention as well is I wonder what's going to happen if Manked actually takes it all the way, whether he gets to 2nd place or first, $10,000 or $20,000. How much of that is he having to split with Lit, with the leaders and the people that got him there to that far, or is he going to walk home with all the money altogether? I have no idea. I have to ask him afterwards if he does win.
I was asking him during the interviews leading up to this, what's it like having won a Deadman tournament and then going to play in the next season in tournament? I imagine a new face or somebody who recognizes him, I should say, will see him immediately run away.
Oh, definitely.
Like, how do you find any fights as a Deadman champion? Everybody must.
You don't you? I mean, at the same time, how do you can't die at the same time because no one wants to fight you. So you just run around freely, no one attacking you, and just pick up all the little noobs and get a bunch of bank keys. That's what Demo's all about, you know, having fun and enjoying himself. And I think when he goes home today, regardless of the outcome is right now, he's gonna be a very happy guy, and he's gonna get smashing the seasonals and reap the rewards from doing so.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing for Mank coming into this tournament was that he had the right approach from the get-go. He non-stop just grinded out those quests, right? It seemed like on the 2nd day, he had all the key quests ready. He had Piety on the 2nd day, and he just had a great overall setup. Plus, he knew the game plan coming into these final 1v1s. You heard him saying the scene all week long. If I could get to that final 1v1s, I got this. My setup's good. I've been practicing. I know what it takes, and he's demonstrating it here.
And I've actually just received confirmation the next round is the semifinals. So
okay, so now it's the round of 4.
I thought this was the grand finale.
Yeah,
it was Brett versus Manked.
I've been trying to keep track, but you know, all these fights kind of blur together after a while.
There's just been so much entertainment going on at one point. I'm not surprised. So that means what it does mean though is that everyone that goes into this next round has secured himself $1,000 regardless. So the 3rd and 4th place, $1,000. Everyone is making money.
Guys, let's get some excitement in the studio here from Manked Up Mage going to the semifinals. Let him know if you think he can win this. Clearly the crowd favorites. I'm really hoping I get to interview this guy under the confetti as the winner with his name on the screen. A very familiar feeling for him, of course. And I'm really looking forward to following his strategy for the next season. I'm sure so many viewers right now are saying, like, I need to watch this guy's stream for the next season. What is he doing?
You're watching his stream right now.
Consistently good at Deadman.
Yeah, like we were saying, his game plan, he knows what it takes, and here we go. We're entering the semifinals right here. You see it on your screen. Manked Up Mage in his fight against DMMFreakshow. A B-ring switch, maybe he's got a Suffering as well.
Must have a Suffering right now, and that's going to be really a lot of damage that actually he's going to be taking. But if he doesn't manage to kill him, does he have any recalls left? He actually dropped his recalls, or so didn't bring them through to the final.
This
right
is
now,
such a tough fight.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, they both got exactly the same gear pretty much, and right now, unfortunately, Mank taking a lot of damage at the moment. Both got exactly the same setups as before. Although, he did pick up that DFS. Doesn't matter, though. He's getting hit 40s through his prayer.
Wow.
Which is fantastic.
That's without the B-ring on.
So, I'm interested to see there are no smite switches, especially when you see your opponent is eating. You know you're going to get the next hit. He's not going to be able to do anything about it.
Okay.
Flick in the smite. There are only 2 restores. That's going to be the deal breaker if I was PKing in this situation, of course, Mank being a bit more experienced than me, but
Well, the thing is, you fail one of those switches, one of those smite flicks, and you take so much damage for doing it. But luckily for Manx there, DMMFreakshow going for a kick. But
that was kick into a 40.
We've seen 2 40s now from him, and yeah, Manx not looking good right now. He's down so much food. The RNG of DMM is just insane, and he realizes it right now. You can see in his face, trying to concentrate as best he can, make sure he can get that DFS on for every tick possible, because that'll make the difference towards the end. He has Vengeance still, he has a chance. It's going to come down to these last few hits, to be honest.
And if Manx goes on to lose this fight, and I ask him the question, what would you do differently? I don't think he would say anything.
I don't know. Yeah, it's just been an unfortunate series of just taking a lot of damage at the start. We saw 2 40s, there was a 30+ hit in there as well, and that's just unsustainable at that rate.
Yeah, and it comes down to the suffering as well, making that huge damage. I mean, we only saw, what, 2 in the game? And if this guy has it, DMMFreakshow, he could well be representing Rot right now. And with that suffering, it just makes so much of a difference. Every time you heal, I think it's a 5 to a 10 damage, you take 1 damage splat of recoil. So, I mean, it adds up over time. And clearly, with only 2 shocks left, it's going to take a miracle for Manx Mage to come back and win this one.
It is looking very unlikely for Manx, but he's not giving up yet. We've seen bigger comebacks.
I mean, both representing the same setup as well. As before, both have the Fire Cape, Stage 4 strength bonus. Both have the shield switch too. The full Varax, the Fury, the lot. Both got rings, B rings, the suffering. These guys have done so well the whole week. They've been fed by their friends or their clans as well. They thought they'd make it right to the final, and they've got to the last 4. So unfortunately, though, for Manx, being on, what is it now, 49 hit points versus 64 plus 4 Sharks, Brew, Karambwan. I mean, I just don't think it's possible with Vengeance right now, as well as the Ring of Suffering.
It's got to be so demoralizing seeing him just eat back up right to full.
And I mean, in this fight, it was probably the difference. Yeah, I mean, it takes off quite a few sharks from you. And if he had that suffering as well, but nothing you do there, dying to the suffering. Great effort though, nonetheless.
Unfortunate ending,
Mage, guys.
But to have made it so far, he's still walking away with $1,000. Got to be happy with that.
He is getting the $1,000. Very happy to say that. He's got the God Sword as well.
Yeah, Saradome and God Sword. I mean, that's huge.
And just like Mankta in his previous fight, how he was able to upgrade his shield, DMMFreakshow now has that option, so just further increasing his gear, upgrading from his Crystal Shield. He's got the DFS, and now he's just waiting on this final fight to see who he's going to match up against in the finals. Great to see that we still have a Tribrid remaining as well.
Yeah, we were just talking about using the same setups and everyone utilizing Varax, and well, lo and behold, we have someone here who is using Arims, going in for the barrage and doing the step under.
The Infinity Boots as well, I love it. The Guthan's body, he looks like he's got a little fashion on him.
He's doing absolute work right now.
He's not necessarily just using whatever he wants to.
You can tell he's a good hybrid too, though, because you can see his switches. He's trying to flick on his different attack styles, get his opponents to change his prayers, his overheads. Obviously, as before, they mitigate 40% of damage reduced. But Kuro walking out, sidestepping actually, so he can't get meleeed half the time. He can only get range bolted, keeping that range spray up, only having to defend from 1 attack style as well. Looking like he's got what, 9 sharks versus 2.
We've never seen a difference this big ever.
Especially not in the semi-finals as well. This goes to show that, if you are a competent hybrid or tribrid, then you are, in your own right, able to get this far, potentially to the whole way. And I think we're going to see in a moment, what is the meta? What is Varax actually better than the tribrid style?
I'm really excited to see what happens between Kuro and the chap who was using Varax before.
Either way, both decided to make it to the final.
Definitely. And yeah, look at that. 9 sharks remaining for Kuro. Chucking on the whip, so he changes to Prey Melee. Then picking out the Aram staff, going for a mage hit himself. And again now, on the right prayers, switching it out when he goes underneath, so you can't see what attack style he's changed to. Prey Melee on Prey Mage, attack style Melee on Prey Mage. And he's just doing so much work right now. Brett cannot sustain this. And the 38 whip KO, I mean, goes to show that, the true power.
Here we are.
That might be the winner.
We're now heading into the finals.
A really difficult final.
I mean, it means that Kuro and the other DMMFreakshow both got at least $10,000 right now. This is the difference between $10,000 grand prize, 10K versus 20K for whoever gets first and second.
Very reminiscent of the last Deadman. We saw Varax versus, I believe, a tank range with Melee.
Yeah, with the SGS, remember?
Yeah, and the SGS, of course, yeah. And this time around, we see a very skilled Tribrid, clearly very comfortable, despite so much money being on the line. That's impressive. Versus the Varax meta. The thing that has come out of nowhere since the last tournament and taken everybody by storm. Everybody went into this tournament saying, I need a full set of Varax. I wonder what that set was going for.
I mean, personally, I feel like the Tribrid can be taken. We've seen him doing some fakey switching and catching his opponent off guard. Now, depending on this Verika's ability, if he gets caught out by a few of these prayer switches and have the right prayer on at the right time, he can get hit 30s barrage constantly, and get 38s as we saw for the KO of the whip. He's got spec weapons, DDSs, he can also utilize the range as well. The Verika's going to have a hard time fighting this guy. And I honestly think the Tribrid could walk all over him.
Yeah, I'm hoping to see the Tribrid win. I think one of the things that that differentiates between whether they do win is catching those barrages.
Yep.
And the most important part about that is going to be magic accuracy. Most people go into the tournament and don't focus on mage gear as much because they just want to use it for the barraging during the clumping phase in the permadeath stage. But he's wearing infinity boots. That's a nice little bonus that most people wouldn't have, and every little bit of magic attack accuracy is going to help in this instance.
And the choice of the tank helm being the Varrock's helm too doesn't really have much negative mage accuracy bonus as well, which is quite nice for him. Yeah, if he catches those freezes, not having to splash constantly, because the guy, Varrock's, has full carols, obviously, huge mage defense bonuses, so he could splash a lot on that. It's going to come down to those freezes and utilising the best of his triple attack style and kind of working the guy.
I'm really hoping we see some good armor switching in between hits as well as the smiting. I honestly think smiting could be the difference here.
Smiting?
Nobody bothers with it. I don't know. If you see you're comboing your opponent, he's about to do a double E, just go in for the smite.
You missed that smite flick though, and then you've got no overhead prayers on, you get hit a 40, immediately it's just not worth it.
Huge risk reward, and you also got to remember that these guys now are in the final. This is the difference between 10 and 20k. They're going to be nervous. There's no way that you can be keeping your cool completely in this scenario. And in those situations, you don't think of everything. You're just focusing on the moment, making sure that you are getting those switches right. I personally, I would never have made it this far, but if I was a good PKer, I don't think I would want to take that risk.
Oh, absolutely. This is going to be a high-pressure moment for both these players. And just to backtrack a little bit, remember what was happening in the Graphics fight? When he was able to catch those freezes and then blood barraging after, that might be a key difference in this upcoming fight. You know, if you're a Tribert, you catch that freeze, blood barrage after. We've seen how crucial or how many times these fights come down to the final piece of food, that final supply crate. Every little bit of HP helps.
And we did see a fight similar to this earlier on in this finale. We saw Graphist with his Tribert setup versus a Varrocker. Graphist won that one quite easily. It's definitely possible. There's a big difference in skill, it's obviously crucial. If the Varrocker is skilled or not, you can't just auto-retaliate. This set isn't that strong. If the Tribrid freezes him, walks diagonally, the meleeer can't attack, right? That's something that we learned.
Has to just range constantly, and then you just pray range, so all the damage has been reduced. Although saying that, I believe the Varrocker does have a double Carol switch. So if he is also a competent hybrid, or he's good at PKing, he can just switch into it at the right ticks, and the guy in full Arams, even though he's got the Infinity Boots too, I believe he will just keep splashing and take a lot of damage and trying to catch that freeze in the low defense gear that Arams has.
And let's not forget, as much as he is doing attacks and he could be doing really well, the guy's got a Ring of Suffering, so he's going to be taking retaliation damage as well as vengeance.
Good point.
So the Barrager hasn't got vengeance, whereas the...
I've just heard something crazy. I'm sorry to interrupt.
I think I know what you're going to say. Can I guess?
Yeah.
Are both players from Raw?
No.
Ooh.
One is Cutthroat.
Cutthroat?
Okay.
And one is Lit.
Okay.
No way.
One of the players is Ditterbitter, a content creator who went on to win the Deadman beta.
That is insane.
Wow, okay. Interesting. Well, he was saying, where's my 20k? Maybe this is where it is.
Well, he's made himself at least 10k now being in the final, and I'm very impressed by that. I believe Cutthroat, when I spoke to them, they had around 30 to 50 members. This is their first tournament they're properly participating in. They are solo. They have not created any alliances. So for Ditter to get through to the final 1-versus-1 is a tremendous feat in itself.
Yeah, I remember actually Bit of contacted and was mentioning that there's a lot of propaganda going out that there is a huge alliance and Cutthroat are part of that. And actually, as Ian's just said, they're not. They've ran this one solo, and to see how far they've got is absolutely incredible.
Now I want to keep track of his RSN and see how he managed to survive the final multi-moments, because it seemed like Lit had both areas completely under control with their sheer numbers.
And I will say, before we jump into this, which is about 10 seconds away, Ditterbitter is probably streaming. Open up both streams. Do yourself a favor. This will be worthwhile. This is $20,000 going to the winner.
I was going to say, if anyone can do it the Tribert style and beat Varrock's, it is Ditterbitter. This man lives in the wilderness, up and deep, back at the lava maze. He likes to PK there, and he makes videos on them every single day. Check out his YouTube channel as well. If you just search on Ditterbitter, you will find out about him. And here he is right now.
Catches the barrage as well.
That is so nice. And yeah, looking right now, so clearly we have the Ring of Suffering before. It's going to be a huge amount of damage, but can it be mitigated by the full RMs and the switching out? See, here we go. Going into the mage, making the guy pray mage, but then coming out of the range again here twice in a row and catch them off guard. Hits the 33. Clearly worthwhile doing. The fakies into the DDS. He has 4 specs right now. Oh, on the wrong prayer. Only once, though. He understands the guy's going to put on his prey melee straight away.
Straight away put another barrage. And as we said before, he's utilising the diagonals. He's not able, DMMFreakshow is not able to attack back with melee. He's having to use range. So all Ditterbitter has to do is protect from range.
Unfortunately, when he goes for those mage hits on the Carols when the guy's in full range tank, he has a very low chance of actually hitting him. So it's between the melee and the range for the most amount of DPS. But still here, he's showing that he can compete like this. And he's doing an absolutely fantastic job. He catches freeze here again and step under. But here we go. The splash is coming in right now, going into the Carols, like I said before. 4 and doing a fantastic job of it. DMMFreakshow showing that he too deserves to be here. But Ditter almost getting comboed out right there. He has got combo food though.
We're going to ask the guys behind the scenes to confirm that Kuro is Ditter and not DMM, just to be 100% certain.
I'm pretty certain that he would have gone with the Tribe setup.
And Ditter is representing Cutthroat then?
Yes, he's in Cutthroat. He's good friends with the leader, Christy. And like I said before, this is their first ever tournament. So to get this far, to have someone in the finals with them is absolutely fantastic. They were just testing out different strategies, enjoying themselves, feeding certain players, and Ditter clearly being one of them. And,
he's hurting right now, though. The DFS coming in hits a 0.
Man, that could have hit like a 30 or something, can't it? So that could have been a big damage changer. Obviously, DMM doesn't have a spec weapon apart from the DDS, which isn't really worth using.
And what that shows me the DFS special attack being used is that DMMFreakshow is not panicking. That is not something you do in a panic situation. That's a ballsy move. You're confident. You think you're going to win this.
But
DMMFreakshow definitely thinks he's got this.
But catching every freeze from Cairo right now and using the Blood Barrage again to utilize the extra HP he can. The DDS spec seeing a 0-0, unfortunately, on the right prayer, though. And the Bolt, again, on the right prayer, still a 0. Unfortunately, Kuro with that massive defense bonus. Sorry, DMMFreakshow, the massive defense bonus with the double carols and with the DFS. It's quite hard to hit him. But I mean, it's still kind of either way. 4 Sharks, 1 Karambwan, 1 Brew versus, I believe, 6 Sharks, 1 Karambwan, 1 Brew. So, I mean, it's pretty 50-50 right now. Anything could happen.
DMMFreakshow is doing a great job of timing his vengeances. I don't think he's just spamming them as soon as they come to him. He's waiting until Kuro or Ditterbitter goes in for the freeze. He knows it's going to be a reasonable hit. If there's nothing he can do about it, he's going to get frozen regardless. Might as well do some damage back in return.
And it was a small thing, but at the beginning of the fight, you saw Kuro cover the field with flowers. So had, DMMFreakshow had mithril seeds in his inventory, he wouldn't be able to, move from this DD breeding style. So it's just something small, but you love to see players thinking about little things like that.
And we've just heard that Ditterbitter, actually, when he nearly died earlier, was on 1 HP.
1 HP? Imagine,
That's
imagine dying that way.
$20,000 on 1 HP.
Oh my gosh. Well,
imagine he died there from the risk.
Again, now, the Ring of Suffering and the Vengeance is just doing so much damage against Ditterbitter. No matter what he does now, he has to be absolutely tick perfect, because otherwise, it's just going to be like a 50-50 completely. 4 Sharks, 1 Karamban versus 4 Sharks, 1 Karamban. But DMMFreakshow has the Brew advantage now. He's actually gone up in HP, so it's going to take an absolute miracle now for Ditterbitter. He's going to say calm, compose, and this is when that PKing mechanical skill that he's learned over many years of PKing comes to fruition. He's had so much experience. Like I said before, he PKs in this style every single day in, day out. He is a content creator. He makes videos for a living, and I'm going to show right now here that he does stand a chance.
That's 2 freezes that splashed on the full Verax with Prey Melee. Those both should have hit. Really, and now the Vengeance is really starting to take its toll.
Yeah, I think right now, because of the Vengeance, the Brew, the 2 Sharks, and the Karambwan, it's going to take him, something really, really good here. He's going to catch every single prey off. Otherwise, he's going to fall, unfortunately. But still, the 25 barrages coming to fruition. Does he have blood barrages? Why is he not using them? If he was utilizing them right now, he could get a bit more HP. Maybe now is he going for it? No, trying to catch the freeze. If he splashes again, quite unfortunate for DMMFreakshow. But Ditter needs to do something special right now. Please catch the freeze. He's got it. Unfortunately, though, he was unfrozen that same game.
On the side, he's playing the game well. He's prayer switching, and he's hitting him when the opponent is missing prayer switches. Also, DMM has full special attack. Ditter does not. But this might be it right here.
Unfortunately, I think it's enough for Ditter to come back. He's down to 7 HP. He realizes it is a clutch scenario, but DMMFreakshow down to no food too, and
there it is, guys. Well done. The DMMFreakshow representing Lit. So many Lit making it into the top 10 as well. They've really stepped up this tournament.
That was insane. I think the difference there was that Ring of Suffering. Such a powerful item. Without it, I'm pretty sure Ditter would have won that. He was only like 60 HP behind, I think, and I'm almost certain that Ring of Suffering would have used up quite a few Sharks there.
Yeah, completely. I mean, you saw at the end, no supplies left for both players, 60 HP. A few splashes here or there could have made the difference, but ultimately, every hit that he was taking, that retaliation damage, as you say, would have stacked up.
And Ditter did a great job. I mean, he was hitting his freezes early on in the fight. He was able to dictate the pace, but in the end, it came down to that barracks setup. He's able to move around the area freely, and you see him celebrating here. He's definitely got to be excited, and congratulations to Lit as well. They had the numbers coming into this one. I think they were one of the favored clans, and it looks like they might be coming out on top.
See how keen he was to start demo mode too. He's in the normal, the Bob setup, so to speak.
Yeah. Default character.
Default character. Doesn't change any of his
Imagine
items.
being in that TeamSpeak right now.
Oh my God,
You've just won
going
20
wild.
grand representing your clan. all of those hundreds of people, I'm sure, just screaming.
And to be fair, like they did dominate throughout. They were holding down the positions both for Anakal and at Falador in the first stage, and they got through a few members. And yeah, it clearly goes to show that the Verak meta is definitely something worth considering. Yeah. And with the Ring of Suffering too, goes to show that clans that lock down certain pieces of content,
it really pays
areas,
off.
It does pay off.
Yeah, I mean, I hate to say it because I don't want to make myself any enemies, but what a crushing blow to Rot, dedicating themselves entirely to this tournament. And from what we've heard, the hardest that they've ever gone on any tournament before. Yeah. By far most the favourites to win from everyone that I've spoke to. And, well, there we have it. Lit took the victory.
Yeah, and obviously what we're seeing is so many teams coming together and saying, look, the enemy of my enemy is my... How does it go?
The enemy of my
your
enemy
enemy
is my friend.
Is my friend. Whatever you know what I'm saying.
We know what you're trying to say.
Everybody's coming together to take down Rot, and they've actually managed to do it this time. It's the first time in a very long time. Obviously, seeing Fools take the last one.
Of course.
I'm really curious to see what's going to happen next tournament. We're going to have Fools back, making a strong return, hopefully. We'll see Lit, I'm sure, stronger than ever. So many people applying to join them after this tournament.
And I mean, we've got Cutthroat as well now, who have taken a second place in their first ever tournament. And Ditabita could not be happier, I'm sure. $10,000 to be bringing home. I'm sure he's going to split it amongst the other members as well for letting him join them and for feeding him as well and helping him out.
It's got to be an amazing feeling, though.
My gosh, Cutthroat, obviously a well-known clan in the RuneScape PKing scene. They PK Revs still weekly. They PK on big missions every single week, every Sunday and Saturday. And yeah, I'm so happy for them because they are really nice people to me.
At the end of the day, the money's nice for these guys, but the main thing that they're playing for is the notoriety, their pride, just putting their clan and themselves on the map.
And here we have a bit of a replay of what we've just witnessed, the final 1-2-8 coming down to the wire. We had 4 players on stage make it through. All 4 of them make it through the first round as well. They all did so well. Megged Up Mage making it the farthest. I believe he secured 4th place, or tied for 3rd and 4th, I should say.
So he gets himself $1,000 to get home, so it's not a bad job done.
Not a bad track
Bar
record.
tab's still on him, right?
Pardon?
Bar tab's still on him?
Oh, Bar tab's definitely on him tonight. I can see him smiling away. He's like, yeah, drink some of me, boys, don't worry about it. Quad Bridger Swallow was pretty decent too. We're going to show again that I think what really surprised me throughout this whole tournament was how many Tribruts actually got through, and Curtis in particular. And Graphis too, really going to show that, you know, streamers aren't just, you know, there to look pretty and wave at the chat, but, you know, they've got a lot of RuneScape skill behind them too.
Plus Curtis representing all the Iron Men out there, showing that they're capable of PvP as well. But just piggybacking off your comment right there, it's something I did not expect coming to this one. I truly thought that the Verak setup was just going to straight up crush everything in its path, but clearly I was wrong. Tribert's still here and still a very viable setup.
I mean, I think if Ditabita actually had that Ring of Suffering as well, I think you could have potentially taken that win. If you got a few more freezes that weren't zeros, or got a few more DDS specs off due to RNG. I mean, it was so neck and neck, and that's what's so amazing about these finals is that you just don't know who's going to win the whole way through.
No, we've seen so many turnarounds where, yeah, they might be using the same setup and it comes down to a bit of RNG here or there, but that's the beauty of it. You can be sat with 2 sharks left, the opponent with 6, and you have no HP, and all of a sudden you hit 3 40s in a row and you came straight back into it.
Not only that, but also, you see Robert celebrating there. All the streamers to get through into the 1v1 final phase. Never had that before happen, and it was just such a cool spectacle.
Yeah, what a great moment for everyone there as well. I mean, that's one of the best things about Deadman is that it just brings everyone together. We know clans have rivalries. That's the whole point of why they exist, right? You have competition. It's healthy competition. And to see everyone come together to create this huge alliance, and commiserations to Rot. I know obviously they didn't win in this tournament, but they have done absolutely fantastic, and hats off to them. Their coordination throughout, the areas that they managed to lock down, the sheer numbers that they managed to bring to this tournament without having to join in really with anyone else. I think there were a few clans that did partake with Rot in this, but the majority of it was down to them. And
just goes to show how feared they actually are, that the fact that literally every other clan out there has to band together to try to defeat them just goes to show how much presence and prowess they have over this game and the PvP scene in general.
And you have to wonder if they're going to be demoralized with this. Are they going to take this and say, okay, everybody's against us, we can't possibly win, let's not play the next tournament, or let's take it a little bit less seriously? Or will this make them stronger? Will we see Rot come even stronger the next tournament?
I think it's going to make them stronger. They've been in this position before. They're no secret to having everybody team up against them. It's just a matter of maybe having better prep work. I mean, we talked about them, camping certain, areas on the map, camping certain bosses, but we didn't see a lot of those items actually come into play. Like, I didn't see 1 Staff of Dead or 1 Staff of Light being used, which could have had a huge impact. Maybe those members were keeping it in their bank, so when they did die in the multi-phase, like, no one else, like, they kind of spoiled it for everyone else.
I mean, we saw Reverica win with the rune crossbow meta as well, changing into the 2 different attack styles. And I believe Rot had a few people like that setup with Verax, with Rings of Suffering, with the ACB, the Dranga crossbow that Alfie fought so hard throughout the week with no sleep to try and obtain for them.
Only to die to a guard.
Only to die to a guard, unfortunately for him. He's not going to live that one down, I'm sure.
I wonder what happened to that dragon crossbow.
There's always one streamer, isn't there, that like walks into a safe zone or goes underneath the
Usually
stairs
it's for
into a cave.
this time around, it's Alfie.
Again, Graphist here, we saw before as well, representing the streamers, and he does such a fantastic job too. I've got to give him some kudos as well.
Yeah, I mean, really, you got to give it up to all the members on stage as well. It's the first time we had them all enter the 1v1 stage, and they were making it pretty far. I thought Curtis, was doing great as well. He made it past that first round, that barrier that stopped him short last time around. There's a chance for him to make it a little bit deeper, but unable to catch freezes at the end, and unfortunately, this is the dying moment for Manked.
And I think we're passing it back to Chris any second now for some interviews with some streamers on the stage.
Just still carrying on going through the last moments, and well, here you go. You can see that hit 38 straight into it and knocked him out. The difference in food on that fight was incredible. And this one as well, DFS with the Crystal Shield. You got the specs coming out. Did a bit here, really trying to push through. And I really love the touch. As you
that was the one
that's the one
right there. He could have hit
Wow.
36 as well quite easily too.
Straight away with the combo food though. But the nice touches ahead with just planting down the flowers with Mist Seeds just to stop, so that he knew that was his chance of winning. And it's just such a cool thing to go into it. And
yeah, definitely. I'll tell you another thing as well is DMMFreakshow actually beating Manked Up Mage 2, a previous winner. So he definitely deserves the win, and congratulations to him. We're going to fly over to Chris now.
All right, guys, we're joined back on stage with Robert, the first player. Now, where amongst the 4 of you did you fall?
Do we all fall in the I think we might have all fallen in the same round.
I think you did as well, apart from Manked, obviously.
Yeah, so it was pretty good. I really enjoyed that. I'm so glad I got to the 1v1s, but Verax versus Verax, it was a tough fight, and the person who beat me went on to win, so fair play to him.
Yeah, that's very true. So you're proud of yourself this tournament then?
Yeah, I've had a lovely time playing.
Well done. And we're going to see you strong as ever next tournament?
Definitely. I'll be back and playing again.
Fantastic. Thanks so much, Robert. Skill specs. What happened?
Hi, Chris. I don't really know. I went into it, destroyed my first fight, and then unfortunately there was a couple technical problems. My auto retaliate didn't seem to kill the guy when I DC'd, but I had fun. I had fun, and that's what you're here to do. And if I prove myself, I can get into the final. Always next time, eh?
You had the lowest stats, the lowest gear. You made it just as far as these 3 on stage with you. You made it so much farther than the 2,000 other people competing in this tournament. You did incredibly well. I'm really looking forward to seeing how you do in the next tournament. What did you think of the finale? Did or bitter? Did you think he was going to go on to take it?
I'm honestly, a little bit I thought Ditter was going to win, and then that would have made me angry, but happy at the same time for him because it's Ditter. But yeah, I liked how the final ended.
All right, well, cheers very much. Thanks very much, Jay. Cheers. Curtis, how are you doing? You died in the same round. You had I don't want to look at the Twitch chat right now. I just said that. Thank you. Minimize that. How are you doing, MMORPG? you went against full Verax without the full Verax. What were you thinking going into that fight?
Well, I had a fight against Mank today about 20 times against his Verax, and I lost every single fight. So I was like, if I'm against Verax, it's going to end pretty bad. But it was super close, and props to Big Bicep for taking me down. Fun fight.
And how did the practicing leading up to the tournament go for you? I keep on talking about not sweating and not crashing under the nerves, competing in front of actual live audience and players online, obviously. What was that like?
Honestly, I did a lot of hybrid training going into this, and I've definitely improved since last tournament. My goal for this tournament is to win one 1v1 fight. Managed to do that, managed to take round 2 as well, so I'm extremely happy, and I hope to move forward next tourney as well.
We did really well, obviously. I'm looking forward to seeing the streams next tournament, so again, well done. Thank you, Curtis. Manked, you made it the farthest. We honestly thought you were going to go on to win it. You had a really, really tough fight. What was it like?
It was... I thought it was going well, and then he started hitting 40s, and I was like, uh-oh. And then I realized he had a Suffering, and at that point, I kind of thought, okay, he's won. It was pretty much the game changer. Suffering, very hard to beat. I think Ditter could have beaten him as well if he had a Suffering as well, so... It was a good fight, though. It was a good fight.
And looking back, was there anything you would have liked to change if you were to watch this kind of 1v1 finale back?
Okay, Ring of Suffering. That's pretty much it. I think that was honestly the game changer. In those fights, there's a lot of RNG, so it can go either way, but it was a good fight. And
Fair enough. In the new season, are you going to be streaming things? Are these new players going to be able to tune in to find out how you managed to do so well in Deadman consistently?
Yeah, so this season I'll be streaming no swapping, obviously, because it's bannable, and no donations. So if you guys have questions about how to play demo mode, just join my stream, and I'll help you out. Should be good. I'm starting on Monday, I think, so I'll be a little bit behind, but it should be fun.
Are you going to celebrate tonight? There's an after party.
I'm very tired, but yeah, I'll try.
Come on. Well done, mate. Okay. Guys, I believe it's finally time. We've already kind of acknowledged that somebody has won the Deadman tournament. But we haven't said anything officially, and there's confetti to be dropped. So, what I'm going to do is ask the guys behind the scenes to please throw a name up on the screen. Let's have a look at who's just won $20,000. Let's get a countdown, guys. Come on.
6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
There it is, DMMFreakshow, no surprise. After our final checks, a legitimate player winning through and throughout, $20,000.
Best part about the confetti drop is now it's all of a sudden way cooler in here.
Oh, yeah. I made it the entire outro with confetti on my head last time. Somebody's going to tell me if that happened to me.
I think one just dropped on your head.
Thank you.
Yeah, it did actually.
Just one, though.
Oh, such a
nice
keep going.
that.
There you go. Just left it on there. Interestingly, we're talking about the winner, so DMMFreakshow. We actually have a message from the winner. The guys at backstage have managed to get hold of him, hence why I'm holding this lovely iPad here. So DMMFreakshow's message is #LitWin, shout out to Cold Alliance, also #PreN. That's all the words they had to say.
Fair enough.
Thank you, Freakshow. Congratulations on the win. I mean, the guy performed well, really, from what we've seen from the 1v1 stages till the very end. Took out Mank, so he better have won it after that.
Yeah.
I think #Prime goes to his actual original name. He is actually quite a well-known DMMK.
Okay.
It does ring a bell right now. So it's good to see, someone that plays season after season, takes part in tournament after tournament, has finally got a chance to make the finals and to take the win as well. Congrats to him.
Yeah, definitely. What an incredible finale it's been. We had no idea from the very beginning. I think in the beginning, if we were to poll it to the players, the majority would have said Raw. Right? Coming out of, I wouldn't say out of nowhere, but Lit managing to really put the work in this tournament. These past 7 days, they have worked so hard.
And the Alliance as well that got them there as well, of course. CD, DL, the other clans we've not really named as well. I want to give a massive shout out to them too, because it wasn't really casting too much of their part. It was mostly Lit that they were spamming and such, but yeah, that goes to show that Rot is defeatable if everyone works together and wants to take them on.
And I think we saw it in the beginning when the two final areas started to form, the synergy in Lit of them moving, transitioning from corner to corner, throwing chins in sync, targeting players. Their caller must have been doing a good job.
They worked so well together as a unit. They go to show that they are a formidable opponent as well, a really strong force. And from several tournaments now, getting further and further into it, getting closer and closer to that win again. They've had the practice. It's paid off for them, and they go to show again today. They deserve to.
That's actually really hard to do, considering that they have such a big team. Like so many people listening to not only the same voice, but they were controlling 2 different areas. They had people over at Anakarl. They had people over at the Falador statue. So not only that, like new people listening to new callers, sometimes you don't really respect them as much. But the fact that they were just dedicated, listening to the calls and reacting to them almost immediately, is very impressive to watch. Great organization all around.
Definitely, and there is something going on right now. I believe the new season is already underway.
That is correct. #play in the chat for those of you watching on Twitch if you want to get involved in the season as well. I'll give you some information.
There it is.
Hey.
And yeah, so the new season's live.
Quick,
Incredible.
spawn in with Barrage and clump them all out. Take them all out.
If you're unfamiliar, obviously we put our seasons live immediately after the tournament, so all of our viewers have the opportunity to jump right in, enjoy the season as it progresses. If you manage to become one of the top 2,000, you'll get to play in the tournament you just witnessed, and you could potentially go on to win $20,000.
We already see some Lit members training some agility here.
And if you think so much about the season as well, it is a new, fresh server as well. You start from scratch, level 3 from Tutorial Island. It is a race, a new economy as well. So if you want to go do Slayer or do certain skilling aspects that you like to do in the main game, do it on demo mode, be one of those suppliers, enjoy yourself. It's so much fun because, like I said before, it's a fresh start. And also, experience rates are also increased. You can kill people anywhere. It's a high-intensity, high-adrenaline version of a classic MMO that we all find nostalgic. So I implore everyone to jump into the action as soon as they possibly can.
Definitely. And probably the best person on the stage to talk about the new season is the guy holding the new season in his hands.
Yeah, would you look at that?
Ben, what is that?
The new season, talking about jumping straight into it. Why don't we just do it right now? On my lap is an iPad, and many of you may know, and if you don't, you should, that we've had in development for a while now an application that allows you to run a certain game on a certain amount of devices. And I just so happen to be logged into it right now. So I'm going to attempt to, on this iPad, make my way through the stronghold of security on the Deadman Season server. I'm live on World 407. In 5 minutes' time, I'll probably be dead, so you're not going to be able to get me. Yeah, I'm going to run through and see if I can grab this 10K.
What's your RuneScape name?
My RuneScape name, that RuneScape name is going to be secret. Okay.
You look like everybody else. No one's going to kill you.
Unfortunately, he has, like 20 minutes of immunity left, I believe.
Yeah, I mean, there's enough
I think we all want to see him die, though.
Oh, I have 20 minutes immunity. I'm not going to die. I'm going to make the 10K.
Yeah, there are monsters in there, Ben, and
I've also just realized I actually have to do the Stronghold of Security questions. It's been a while.
I can help you out. Don't worry.
You're doing a little mining. That's efficient of you. Well done.
Yeah, no, I'm actually trying to just go over to this way. I'm going to zoom in.
You've got attack options.
Don't want to be attack people as well. Yeah. Skull up if you're not careful.
This is what happens when you don't set your options. So we're gonna hide attack options. There we go. We're going to run over here.
Now, if you're wondering, you don't have to jump into this season immediately. Obviously, we would encourage it. It's so much fun. There are so many other people everywhere, as you can see. The worlds are absolutely swamped. But if you wanted to, you could wait a week. We have the 6 hour of immunity. Do you want to talk us through that?
Yeah, so after a week, we get 6 hour immunity that comes in. So you make a new account after a week. You can't be killed or attacked for 6 hours. Gives you plenty of time to catch up. Not only to mention the experience cap per day. So unlike the tournament, which is just a grind for a week straight, people stay up all night to try and get the best in slot gear. On this game mode, we have a 500k XP cap per day, which is maybe a couple hours playing time. So if you miss a few days when you play on the weekends, you can still catch up with people, still enjoy your time on, spend a couple hours here and there making money, training your stats up. And yeah, like I said earlier, it's just so fun to jump into it and start all over again.
And if you're a new player out there wondering how exactly you should start out, Ian makes great videos on how to utilize not only the 30-minute immunity, but the 6 hour immunity as well. There's so many different ways you could approach this. Personally, I'd recommend trying to get those quests done right away. I think that's what separated some of the final remaining members from this tournament from the rest that died in the multi.
I think that's a very good point. If you were to log in right now, get the questing done, you'd be doing yourself a favor. If you wait and then clans decide to start locking areas down, you might kick yourself in the shin, but it's still worthwhile. I played this past season previously. You played this past season as well.
I play every season. Demo mode is
You play so much better than I do.
Let's all team up. Fun,
so let's go for your strategy instead of mine.
So obviously, because I'm right here at the tournament right now, I can't jump into the game straight away. So for anyone at home that can't start straight away either, my suggestion is to catch up a day late so you've got the extra XP cap. And what I usually end up doing is doing the stuff that doesn't really matter about if I die, I don't really lose much. So I turn up the non-combat stats, maybe agility, for example, so I can move around the map a little bit quicker. I get the quest done so that if I'm questing and I've got a bunch of gear on me and I die, I don't lose it all. I'm not really set back too much. And also in safe zones too, in the guarded areas, the main cities of Gilnor, so you've got Lumbridge, Varrock, Cathby Bank, places like that, for example, which you can find mobs in to kill people with as well. Obviously, if you want to go further away from the safe zones, away from the banks, you are rewarded for that risk as well. But I would say stick to what you know. If you enjoy doing Slayer, then just go do some Slayer. If you enjoy doing a bit of skilling, that too.
I did exactly that. I got a 70 agility, ran straight to the blue drags, made my money through the dragon bones. Obviously, the double bones is very profitable. Maybe not the best method, maybe not the most efficient, but I really enjoyed that. So I did that for like a week straight and just absolutely loved it.
It's so fun to just jump in onto the seasonals, honestly. You can literally do anything. I remember the last time I played this season was just before I joined Jagex, in fact. One of my real long lifetime friends, we both decided, you know what, let's just start playing and let's just get straight into it. We just actually opened the first chest there and got 2k coins. Yeah, we ended up going ahead and going for the mage range combo and just went out demolishing everyone, and it was I'm not a great PKer, but it was so fun back then. Just want to clarify as well, while you're watching me on here, that you might see that there's the occasional time where it's taken a few seconds to respond. That's just because I'm on a bit of a shaky wireless network. Apologies on my end from that part.
You also got to figure there are so many people trying to jump into the server right now.
And also, I'm trying really hard to make sure I get these questions right, because if I don't, it's going to look bad on my end.
Very bad on you, yeah.
So yeah, this is a common strategy from everyone, because of course, when you start the game, there are no real GP in the game right now. Everyone's got level 3 combats. It's hard to make money too. From the Stronghold security, so long as you have your authenticator linked, which I suggest everyone does, as it boosts your account security.
You're able to get yourself through that door. Sorry to interrupt you there, but that is efficiency if I've ever seen it before.
Sure if you keep spam clicking them, actually, you will actually be able to run through if you have got a authenticator on your account. You don't have to answer the questions at all.
But I mean, it's a bit of information for those guys at home.
Yeah,
making sure account security is important. Definitely do not give them your password. Let's talk a little bit about mobile. We can see, what we're looking at the moment. You can see the interface is obviously quite different to what you'd normally expect. We've got the bars down on the left and bars on the right. The chat appears up on the top. One of the nice features that's been added recently is pinch to zoom. So just by using 2 fingers and moving them, together and apart, it will let me zoom in and out, and then a single finger will let me go around and actually rotate the camera. And you can see this is running so smooth. It's absolutely insane how well mobile runs.
Yeah, I need this in my life. I have a very long trip back to America. I would love to have RuneScape Mobile in my life. Chop some trees while I'm waiting in the airport. At least do something to entertain myself.
I was going to say this might be the new meta of demo mode now. When in the tournaments, when you can't really,
for sure,
not use any time. You've got to go as hard as you possibly can. But at the same time, I don't think being on a mobile is a good idea on a PvP server, because if you do get attacked by someone, don't know how you're really going to get away.
It'd be really nice for those moments though, where you just want to AFK train and you're in a
100%.
relatively safe area. Obviously, with Deadman, when you are in safe zone, your XP gain is reduced compared to a dangerous place. But when you're not normally at your PC and you're just lying in bed or going to the toilet, etc., you've got that opportunity.
Have you been using RS Mobile any chance, Ben?
Let me just tell you now, I've used it a fair few times.
My favorite thing about mobile is the pick up and go feature. It's just like you can be playing on your PC. Maybe you've got to commute to work, whatever it is. You log out of the PC, grab your phone, you're in the game, the same session, you're off. That's it. It's not a different game, it's not a different account. You're logged right back into that account, right where you left off. It's smooth.
With skilling as well, of course, in RuneScape it's quite chilled out. You just click on something like a tree or a fishing spot and you just relax, sit back, enjoy yourself. So it's actually perfect for mobile as well, isn't it?
Yeah, typically when I'm playing RuneScape, I don't go outside much. Now with mobile, I might see some sunlight.
So I just gave a quick showcase there, just because we're disconnected and I don't want to give the image that mobile is shaky, because it's definitely not. It runs so lovely. But as we've disconnected from that moment, we'll just carry on, and the season is live. !play.
Right, so the brand new Deadman season is live. That is the Deadman Autumn season. I would say fall. I don't know why everybody here says autumn, but it's the Deadman Autumn season, and we do have a date to announce. That's September 15th, being the brand new, the next Deadman tournament, of course, back here in Leicester at ESL Studio once again. Really looking forward to seeing the Clash of the Clans, as we've said, potentially a Rot, Lit, Fools, Cutthroat. Who's going to come forward?
Yeah, I can't wait to see what kind of new alliances will form, or will the huge alliance that Lit had now, is that going to split up? Are they going to look to do the same thing again? Maybe it's just that we'll bring in even more players. The season is the best opportunity for, if anyone that is inexperienced with PKing, with this kind of game mode, with PvP in general, it's the perfect time to get into it and start learning. As we said, you can do almost anything in the season, or you have a whole month to participate. Towards the later end of the season, more things will start to unlock, and you'll get quest completions automatically done for you. You also, I think after week 1, you'll get 6-hour immunity if you've got a new account and not logged in before. So you can spend 6 hours to just go around and just figure out your strategies, tactics, and learn the meta without having to worry about being killed.
Absolutely. So now that the season's out, go play, iron out your strategy for the future tournament, and now that you guys have a date, book the week off work. Get ready to grind once that date comes closer and closer.
And if you're a new player, we happen to have the Summer Special Membership Package underway right now. So you want to take advantage of that, if you are new, of course. And that being said, guys, I think we've pretty much finished up. Any final words?
I want to say a massive thank you again for inviting us back to host. I've had an absolutely fantastic time. Everyone at ESL that's joined us today, everyone at home that's watched, means a lot. I had a really nice time. I look forward to getting a beer with everyone now, relaxing in the evening, because it's been a 3+ hour show, isn't it?
Yeah, first we got a shower. I'm a little bit sweaty from that show, but this has been my first time ever casting RuneScape. I hope you guys all out there enjoyed it. It's been a phenomenal tournament. I'd like to thank all of Jackets for having me out here. It's been a fun time for my first RuneScape casting experience. Thanks to you guys here on the couch as well.
You did fantastic.
It's been a very memorable experience for me.
Yeah, I mean, from me, just a massive shout out to the crowd, everyone that's watching at home, to Jagex for allowing me to do this and putting me in the position that I'm in, and just most of all to the community, the entire old school community that make this actually possible. It's been absolutely amazing. Been a pleasure to sit next to you, Evan. Enjoyed it so much. Ian, as always, one of my greatest friends, and
Much
Chris,
love, man.
fantastic host.
Oh, you guys are
I love you guys.
You've thanked everybody. I can't thank anybody else. I think I'll still thank the players on stage, of course. I'm so appreciative of these guys making the trip down, coming over from all over the UK, playing on stage. Come on, guys, give it up.
Oh, there we go. Nice dynamic chair. Thanks for joining us, Chair.
We've lost Skill Specs and Robert already maybe at the bar, but we do have Curtis and Meg, considering jumping into the new season immediately, perhaps. But yeah, and then of course, obviously, a massive thank you to ESL UK, always doing an amazing job, and I appreciate the confetti, so thank you. Okay,
So I believe we were potentially going to be looking at hosting someone now that's going into the season.
Yeah, we're going to host somebody who's streaming the new season, so don't go anywhere. We'll leave you on a holding screen for a minute, and then you get to watch somebody else play the Deadman tournament, maybe learn a little bit from them, and yeah, maybe play the next season yourself. So there you have it, guys. That is going to conclude the Deadman Summer 2018 finale. Well, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the new season.
Thank you all. Bye.